We'll figure out as time goes on. John, let's talk about the Yankees. Historic in their own way, maybe, because of the home runs. They're number one in baseball in runs scored. I mean, they can get you 1 through 9 in their lineup.
They absolutely can, and in spring training, this was anticipated. This was going to be the greatest show offensively in baseball, and they're proving it by the ranks. And let me tell you something, they're not clicking yet. Each guy has gone into a funk. They haven't had 2 or 3 hot at the same time. A disclaimer to the rest of the pitchers, you better be on your game when you're facing this team.
Yeah, it could get even better for the Yankees in 2018. All right, from one of the most famous buildings in the world here in the Bronx, at least in the sports world, to one of the most famous buildings in the world in general. Chaz, take it away.
A beacon of light, a symbol of hope, a testament to determination. She invokes wonder from those who witness her beauty. From her perch above the city, she has seen it all. But some nights the city's inspiration comes from a bit further uptown. A stage where he who shines the brightest is renowned worldwide. Where those who inspire are beloved. And the best are remembered as icons. Who will stand out in the skyline of baseball greatness? It's baseball night in America.
Humidity at 59%, temperature at 83 degrees here in the Bronx, and Sonny Gray gets the ball tonight for the Yankees, who come in at 32-15. Sonny picked up from the Oakland Athletics. He was with them from 2013 to last year when he was traded at the deadline. And then last year, his first 5 starts, pretty good, especially with the ERA. His last 6, not so good. And then he has started 2018 with a record of 3-3 and an ERA of 5.5, but coming off a very good start in a win over Kansas City.
Yeah, I would argue he's the most important pitcher on the staff for the Yankees. They've got to have Sonny Gray return to the old form, and you see the numbers of his last start. That's encouraging. New catcher for the most part. Romine did not click with Sanchez. Tonight's strike zone will go a long way to his success. If he gets low pitches called, he is going to have a good game.
Let's see how he gets along with this Angels lineup as the Angels come in with a record of 28-23, 5.5 behind the Astros in the AL West. Zach Cozart is hitting .230 in his first year with the Angels. Took a strike. And now the next from Gray is up and in, a ball and a strike for Cozart, who popped 24 home runs last year in Cincinnati, and now he's trying to fill a need for these Angels, especially in this leadoff spot where he and Kinsler have struggled. That's high in the count, 2-1.
Yeah, not a good sign the first 3 pitches. I talked about him being down in the zone. That allows that power slider to be more effective where it bounces instead of having to hit for it for strikes.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. That's hit hard but foul down the left field line, 2-2. Let's take a look at the LA Angels lineup. You know, Cozart leads it off, then Mike Trout bats second. Justin Upton hits third. In the middle, Pujols, Ohtani, and Simmons. Valbuena, Cole Calhoun, and Jose Briseño making his major league debut. He's catching batting ninth. That will run the count full 3-2.
If you saw that lineup, the separator 7-8-9. That's why the Yankees are so thunder happy. But when you go through their lineup, it just wears you out as a pitcher.
3-2 pitch is tap foul.
Their 7-8-9 is similar to the Astros 7-8-9 last year, and we got a chance to watch them and call the game that they won the World Series. It's the depth of the lineup of the Yankees that wears you out. Like the Angels, 2, 3, 4, 5, they can hang with anybody. 7-8-9, they're not getting much out of it.
Another 3-2 pitch on the way, and another foul ball off the bat of Cozart. Well, it's obviously an enviable position in the big leagues to hit in front of Mike Trout. And Trout, as we will highlight a couple of rookies here tonight and throughout this series, is kind of the old guy at 26 years old saying, ho hum, I've just been really the best in the game since he came up. That's popped up, foul, and Romine will watch it end up in the seats.
Well, it's the new analytical world where it tells you your best hitter should hit second. As a pitcher, you're doing me a favor having him hit second. But if you're going to hit him second on this team, you might as well lead him off if you want those extra at-bats, because the theory is batting third, analytically, you come up with no runners on more often for some reason than if you were batting second. And plus you get some extra at-bats throughout the course of the season.
Here's the 3-2 again, and a ground ball, and Duhar off his glove for a base hit. And Cozart is on to start the night for the Angels, and Trout will indeed bat with the runner aboard.
But if you think about how well the Angels have done so far, they've really gotten nothing out of Kinsler as we see the play trying to be made off the end of the glove. They've really gotten nothing out of Calhoun, although yesterday Mike got him going. And so it's really relied on Trout, Pujols, Upton, and Ohtani. Simmons is having a career year at the plate.
And we'll talk more about him when we see him, but yeah, he's obviously been a great glove man, but now he is a threat at the plate as well. Here's Trout, Jersey native, and hits one in the air to left on a line. Back is Stanton over his head. Off the wall, and Cozart will dig for third and score on an RBI double. The first pitch that Mike Trout sees here tonight. 1-0, Angels on top on a laser off the bat of Mike Trout here in the first.
Yeah, these two have hooked up a lot. Gray and Trout. Gray striking him out 13 times. Watched every one of those at bats. And that pitch right there did not happen very often off of Gray. He's tried to get him away, and Trout went up there saying, I ain't even getting deep in the count. Lasered one over the head of Stanton, who's playing left field.
And obviously once that ball bounded off the wall and got behind Stanton, Cozart able to score without a play, and it will bring in, as Trout now is at 600 career RBIs, and that will move him into elite status. We'll tell you about in a second. Here's Upton. And a good tight breaking ball for strike one. Justin Upton has had a better month of May where he's hit 7 home runs. That 600th RBI now gives him 600 RBIs. Trout 600 walks before the age of 27. On a list with Fox, Ott, Mantle, and Eddie Matthews. 0-1 pitch is a late swing and a foul off to the right, strike two.
Well, a lot of people in baseball would like to see that man, Trout, get a few more opportunities come postseason time.
Nothing in two, the count on Upton, and Gray brings it, misses down and away. Mike Scioscia, who's been the manager of the Angels since 2000, he's one win away from tying the man that he played for 13 seasons with the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda. Final year of a 10-year deal. Got off to a great start in his time with the Angels. The playoffs of late. That's strike three on a borderline pitch, and that's one out here in the first inning. Let's take a look at that last pitch.
Well, that would be nice to have, wouldn't it? Upton will go back and look at it.
I don't think he'll like it. Now Pujols, runner at second, one out. Albert is now in the 3,000 hit club. He did that in early May. He has over 600 home runs. Home plate umpire now is hearing it from the dugout. And Phil Cuzzi walks over and yells in the direction either of Mike Scioscia, or Mike is sticking up for somebody in the dugout.
Yeah, they've already seen it, I'm sure.
One ball, no strikes. And a foul out of play off to the right. The numbers are ridiculous for Albert Pujols. The beginning of his career in 2001, through 2011 is when he piled up the majority of his stats. Here are the other guys that are in the 600 home run club and the 3,000 hit club, combining those two. Aaron, A-Rod, Willie Mays, and Albert. Here's a 1-1. Down and away, ball 2.
I finally made the list on those guys, thanks to Albert. You'd only have 618 if this wasn't for me.
That's right. Here's the ridiculous start, 2001 through 2010. He did play one more year in St. Louis, won a world championship, and then signed with the Angels. But those are the averages per season, that top line. That is a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 331 average. You could mark him down for 40+ home runs and 120+ RBIs.
Yeah, I promise you, there was a very small window of opportunity to get him out. I mean, as small as they get for right-handed hitters.
Here's a 2-2. Fly ball into right. Back is Judge at the wall for out number 2. Tagging, moving to third is Trout. And the batter will be Ohtani. Defensive lineup sponsored by Bright House Financial in the outfield. Stanton's played a lot of left. Gardner knows center in this park, and Judge was a star in the field last night for the Yankees. Around the infield on Duhar, Gregorius, Torres, Bird is back, and the catcher is Austin Romine with Sonny Gray on the mound, trying to keep this a 1-run start as Shohei Ohtani digs in. A big left-handed batter. Shift on the infield, and that's a strike over the outside corner. And Ohtani, John, is already in that category of a guy that other players stop to watch during batting practice. It is just a show.
Yeah, they said they can't. You know, they would love to see this guy in the home run hitting competition. They would put him up against anybody. That's saying a lot, especially with the participants in this field.
And that's up and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. It says something when you say it. You've never seen anything like it, and you know how hard this is.
I just long-term don't think it can continue to work at this rate, but that doesn't mean it can't from his perspective. And what I mean by that is structurally and discipline-wise, you have to do so many things to be good at each job. To pitch in this league, you have to have a structure and a game plan. To hit, the video, the workouts, the routine interruption, he has done a great job so far.
Only 23 years old. 1-2 pitch is way high. 2-2.
And to his credit, he wants to hit more, and they're not going to let him hit more because they still have to monitor the stress level of what it takes physically to hit every day, run the bases, play in the game, throw your bullpens, etc.
2-2. Struck him out on a pitch down and in, and that ends the top of the first inning. Gray gave up a hit to Cozart, a double to Trout, and the Angels lead after a half. Well, here's the Yankees starting lineup in their order. Gardner first, Judge second, Didi Gregorius, great April, bad May. Stanton, Sanchez, Bird is back and batting 6th. And Duhar, Romine, and Gleyber Torres, who has taken the American League by storm. Taking on Jaime Barria, who has done nothing but pitch well, just 21 years old.
He's been unbelievable. Nothing in his stuff's going to wow you as far as velocity, but his pitchability is fantastic. He pitches to every quadrant of the strike zone and rarely has it in the middle of the strike zone.
Here's his first to Gardner, and that misses outside for ball 1. Overall, for the Angels, their starting rotation, an ERA of over 5 through the end of April. In May, it's been good, and it was good last night, but just not good enough. Here's a shot down the right field line into the corner. It is gone to tie the game. Gardner, his second of the year, and it's 1-1 here in the first in a blink.
Well, the challenge I was getting ready to say for Berea is the fact that this Yankee lineup, if you're not on, will absolutely make you pay. And early on, he threw an inside pitch to Gardner. Loves it inside. But the weapons that he has, his change of speeds, are his key to success. Real good changeup, arm speed, and good slider. Off speed will have to be really effective against this lineup.
12th career leadoff home run for Brett Gardner. Here's Berea to Aaron Judge. There's just no let up in this lineup. And you look at the numbers, they're on pace for over 270 home runs as a team, which would be an all-time record. That's on the inside corner, ball and a strike. They have 23 home runs now over their last 6+ games, including tonight.
Yeah, and it's all about making pitches and hoping you don't make mistakes.
1-0 delivery is hit in the air to right center. Judge. Wow. 2-1. Yankees on top. Back to back here in the first. This is already a house of horrors for visiting pitchers. Here's Gardner, who led it off.
Yeah, and neither one of them were in the heart of the plate. They were on the inner half and the outer half. But that's what I was talking about, what this lineup can do. You really have to keep him off balance. And because he doesn't have 95 doesn't mean he can't pitch to this lineup. He just has to be extra careful with his fastball command. Look, the Yankees, if they ever, as we mentioned and talked about, if they ever click, this guy was struggling, by the way, in his last 19 or so at bats.
So let's just keep adding to it. 24 home runs over the last 6+ games. And the plus is 2 batters here tonight.
Yeah, and this is a night where the ball's going to jump. I watched BP, and that in itself is a show.
The problem for the Angels is Gregorius stands in. Is that they need Ohtani in the lineup because he gives them balance with a left-handed bat. They need him on the mound because he's got arguably the most dynamic stuff on the staff. This pitching staff is, at least the starting end of things, although they've had a good May, they're a little short. That's out number 1 here in the bottom of the first.
They are short, and credit Mike Scioscia for being able to keep them. Last year's job was incredible, by the way. They had no business fighting for a wild card based on their injuries, and he, till the end, almost did it. But this year in April, he's had to use a lot of resources to win these games, and what that usually means is long-term, it affects your bullpen. And they may have some guys in the minor to come up and help their starting rotation, but they're going to have to get a little more depth than they've been getting.
Here's Stanton, ball 1. The closed batting stance of Giancarlo Stanton, who was a National League MVP a year ago with the Marlins. Here's a 1-0 pitch. What is a hitter telling you if you're on the mound and you see a guy that closed off?
Well, the biggest thing is velocity up doesn't look like he can hit it. He's actually crouched down a little bit more. Do not leave a mediocre pitch over the plate. And he's seen 2 good breaking balls because you're ready to uncoil. He's looking to hit the fastball the other way and pull the off speed. And so what he's trying to do is adjust.
Here's a 1-2 with 1 out. And Berea made him look bad. That is out number 2 and strikeout number 1. Give you the defensive lineup for the Angels, sponsored by Bright House Financial. In the outfield, Upton, Trout, and Calhoun. A very good defensive outfield. Around the infield, Valbuena, Andrelton Simmons, who's as good as it gets. Zach Cozart, Albert Pujols playing a lot of first base. And Jose Briseño making his major league debut behind the plate. 2 out. Batter is Sanchez.
That curveball is going to be important to throw to Sanchez. That's his kryptonite. He'll crush the slider if you leave it. But the curveball, he just with his timing has not been able to pick it up.
Sanchez has hit 12 home runs on the young season. He waits for the 0-1 from Berea. Gary came up in 2016, hit .299, 20 homers, 53 games last year. 33 homers, 90 RBIs. Had that biceps injury that cost him some time. But just more thunder in this lineup with Greg Bird welcomed back and hitting in the number 6 spot behind him.
That's going to help. That's going to give him, Boone, more flexibility.
That's foul, strike 2.
And what I mean by that, the balance of being able to now manage the game where you, from the bullpen, can bring in your stud right-handers. Typically, it was Sanchez, Judge, and Stanton in some form 3 in a row. So a right-hander could take all 3 of them. Now he can split that lineup a little bit. If Bird can get back to where he was late last year.
Here's a 1-2. That's foul again, and he was really last year hitting the number 3 spot.
Yeah. He, amongst everybody that I talk to, has the best combination of hitter, average, power. Like, he could very well be their best hitter. Now, he's struggling right now average-wise. He's starting to hitting extra base hits, and the hits that he does get are usually damage.
You're talking about Sanchez.
Sanchez. I'm telling you.
Waits on that and fouls it back.
That's the one guy I would not want to face with runners on. Stanton's already proven he can swing and miss, but he's proven he can knock down that scoreboard. Judge has a lot of swing and miss in him. He could do the same thing. So there's pitchability. When they're going bad, you can expose them. This kid, from the catcher's position, you're never going to see anybody like him again, or at least so far. That's how good he is.
1-2 pitch is popped up, just got under it. Calhoun has it. Yeah, wow, says Beck. Back to back. This is what they do. The pinstripes, they pound it. 2-1 New York after 1 in the Bronx. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event. Drive into spring in a new Lincoln. A couple of drives into the seats. One off the bat of Gardner, one off the bat of Judge. 2-1 for Sonny Gray. And the batter will be Andrelton Simmons, who is a wizard with the glove. And after last year spending some time on the disabled list, he's come back and he's been like a different guy. He is crushing the ball, hitting .330. That's high, 2-0.
You know, I always, watching him in Atlanta, it seemed like he was a little confused on what kind of hitter he wanted to be. A lot of pop-ups trying to drive the ball. And now it's refreshing to see he's one of the guys you can't strike out either. He's taken pride in not striking out.
That is a fair ball, and Duhar trying to make a great play and can't get the out. Maybe saved an extra base hit, and Simmons is on to start the second. As Andujar shows his range over at third.
Well, these young kids for the Yankees can do really both sides of the ball. They are so impressed with the progression that Andujar has made, both defensively and, of course, offensively, that he has kept the guy they traded for from being on that position, and Mr. Drury.
Yeah, they've got Brandon Drury, who's down at AAA, who's dealing with migraines. Finally found the root of that, got it squared away, got his eye back, meaning his batting eye, but he can't get back into the Bronx and into this lineup as Andujar has taken over third and Gleyber Torres has taken over second.
Well, this guy has Valbuena has really good numbers off of Gray. That's probably why he's in the lineup. 545 off of Gray, but been struggling of late.
Luis is hitting .230, 4 homers on the year, and there are the numbers against Sonny Gray. So it's Valbuena at third, Cozart moving to second, and Ian Kinsler, who has had a real struggle to start his first year with the Angels, on the bench. And a check on the runner Simmons.
Valbuena basically, like a lot of guys in the game today, all or nothing type swing. 2 for his last 20 with 10 strikeouts. Has power. Of course, when he with the Astros, they had a lot of those guys that they made some adjustments to their lineup, got the strikeouts out of their lineup, and you saw what that did for them last year.
Here's a 1-1 pitch outside, 2-1. Well, the Astros added to their rotation over the offseason with the addition of Cole. And they are 1, 2, 3, 4 deep in their rotation. There's just no team in the big leagues like them.
Nope. And it's going to be the ultimate battle of analytic baseball, how the home run gets you through regular season, gets you success, and might actually be a false read, because when the postseason comes, does that lineup have too many strikeouts?
Well, you know, the Angels are not agreeing with Phil Cuzzi's strike zone tonight.
They have just cause there.
He's already ripped the mask off and walked over toward Mike Scioscia on the bench, and he was hearing it a moment ago after that pitch. You know, big difference between 3-1 and 2-2. And Valbuena waits after that leadoff infield hit by Simmons. Top foul backing out of play. This series is coming up with the Astros here in town to take on the Yankees, and you've got a team that's pounding the baseball. That's coming into tonight on the right, and then the Astros rotation is just lights out.
It has been, and of late the Yankees haven't faced a lot of those stuff guys, so their strikeout numbers, they're in the middle of the pack, but they have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup, and you're talking about a staff that strikes out a ton.
Here's a strikeout of Valbuena, and the third of the night for Sonny Gray. 1 on 1 out, and Cole Calhoun is coming up, and this is a guy the Angels have got to get going. Talked about balancing out their lineup with a left-handed bat. So far, you see the average 160. He is searching for it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe this part of the season, this many at bats. Yesterday had to feel good. Line drive off the second baseman's glove, then he got another hit and put together another swing, and you never know what's going to unlock the brain when a guy has been struggling. Playing great defense, but not much offense to this point.
Leads the AL in outfield assists. He's got a great arm. This is a series that features some guys that can throw from the outfield, especially out and right, with Cole Calhoun for the Angels and Aaron Judge and what he did last night to star for New York. Threw a runner out at the plate, threw a runner out at second, and made it look easy. And a check on Simmons, who has a pretty big lead. We've talked about the home plate umpire a couple of times. Phil Cuzzi, he is from Nutley, New Jersey. About 15 minutes from here, maybe a little more. And Phil is joined by Mike Estabrook, Kerwin Danley, and Chad Fairchild. That's toward the corner, but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, yesterday this was a game changer. Judge, even in the third inning, run it scored. This to give him the lead, and just a bullet. And then this one nonchalantly, it seemed nonchalantly, but he's been doing this in his practice pregame. Catcher running right on the spot.
He is homered tonight, 2-1 Yankees. Calhoun off the end of the bat. Gray has a look at second, throw to first, 2 out. Normally we ask John to dive into that brain of his and come up with the keys to the game. They're sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company, but instead we've gone to the Bronx's own Chaz Palminteri, who helped us with our rollout, voicing over that piece. It was very well done, and stars sell the movie. Bat Ohtani. That has happened. The saddest thing in life is wasted talent from one Sonny to another. Played Sonny in A Bronx Tale, a play he wrote, then it was a movie, now it's a musical, and he's talking about Sonny Gray, who deals outside ball 1. I remember in the movie a great line when the bikers came into the bar and they said some not nice things, were a little rude to the people there. Chaz and his cohorts, Sonny and his cohorts, locked the door and said, "Now yous can't leave." And then some bad things happened to the bikers. Here's a riding fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike, and well, this is the kind of game where you can't change the channel, so now yous can't leave. You got to see how this thing turns out.
Well, I think, Chaz, I'm lighter coming in here, not having to come up with those keys to the game.
Yeah.
I feel refreshed.
He's made his night. Chaz Palminteri made John Smoltz's night, and we wish Chaz luck because on Tuesday he will join the cast of A Bronx Tale, which is now a musical on Broadway. So good luck to Chaz Palminteri. Big Yankee fan. 1-1 pitch. It is tapped foul, strike 2. And then Phil Cuzzi, the home plate umpire, finally going to get to this. Had a little greeting for the catcher, Briseño. This is when Jersey met Panama City a moment ago.
How we doing? What's going on?
Jose. What's your name?
Jose. Phil.
Phil? Nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
That's great.
That wasn't De Niro? That wasn't Robert De Niro?
It sounded like it. Good to meet you. Here's a 1-2. Chased it. And the tag to end the inning. And Briseño strikes out. Eventually they're going to get the out at first. And that does it. He was out twice, but it only counts as one. Bottom of the second rolls in. Now Hughes can't leave. It's 2-1.
Greg Bird stepping to the plate. Aaron Boone called the decision to get him back on the roster one of the worst days of his life. Said it felt like that because the Yankees right now, they've got too many good players. They decided to send down Ronald Torreyes, and there are a couple of reasons for that, Joe. We'll get into it.
Here is a strike. Ronald Torreyes goes by the nickname of Toe. There's Aaron Boone. What a start he's off to. Really good major league player and then broadcaster with ESPN, now Yankee manager. And I sense, Kenny, he was emotional even talking about it today.
He was, Joe. And the reason is Torreyes is what Aaron Boone called the kind of guy you dream of as a utility player. Willing to do anything. And also, he's so popular in that clubhouse. But here's the situation the Yankees were in. They've got 14 games the next 13 days, so they didn't want to go down to 12 pitchers. Tyler Austin, he's hit 8 home runs. They figure he can platoon with Bird. Sometimes they can both be in the lineup against left-handers. And also, they've got coverage in the infield. Gleyber Torres can slide over to short if necessary. Neil Walker can play second or third. But this speaks to the issue you spoke of earlier, Joe. Brandon Drury in the minor leagues, Tyler Wade, Clint Frazier. The Yankees are loaded.
Here is Andujar with a base hit to the left side, deep into the hole at short, and Simmons, whether he came up with it or not, was not going to have a play, and Andujar adds to a .291 average. It'll bring in Austin Romine, who was, John, a career .220 hitter coming into this year. And he's getting a little more playing time, and look at what he's done with it. Hitting .340, a couple of home runs.
Yeah, it's infectious. It's infectious when your lineup has the confidence that they do, and you can plug in guys like Romine, anybody that Boone has the luxury on the bench. But I'm telling you, this is not, when this team was put together, and you think about the game changer for Brian Cashman, from Sanchez to Judge, it allowed him to rethink the whole organization. And now their roster is filled with young, dynamic players that you could see here for a while. But these last two guys are guys that are going to help their lineup because they don't swing and miss. They're not all swing and miss. The 7, 8, 9 gives them a little bit more balance because that's really the only test when we get to the postseason. You're going to face some incredible arms, and can they put the ball in play enough to utilize that power that they possess?
And another layer to that, here comes a 2-0 pitch to Romine with the rookie Torres on deck, and that's fouled out of play. And we'll bring Kenny in on this. To me, this lineup is obviously incredible, but they're going to have to add a starter. Starting pitching, they don't match up like, let's say, with a Houston Astros team, Kenny.
I would agree, Joe. Now the question is going to be which starters are available. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly good group, but we're still 2 months away from the deadline. But the bottom line is the Yankees can go get whatever they need.
Here's one into the corner. It is gone. A home run for Romine. And it's 4-1 here in the second. The 3-homer night already for New York. 21-year-old Berea just shaking his head with that shot down the line. Right over the 314 mark and off the foul pole.
Well, they're doing a good job against Berea on his fastball. They're not missing many. And he can't throw all off speed, so if you can't get some outs on fastballs, you really limit yourself against this high-powered offense. And, of course, this stadium gives up a lot of home runs.
Mike Trout hit one down the right field line last night that got one deck higher. And now Austin Romine's got 3 home runs and adds to his 340 average, and there's no doubt it's infectious. And here's Gleyber Torres, who's been unreal. A swing and a miss, and the count 1 ball 1 strike. He has popped 9 home runs. He's the youngest player in American League history to hit home runs in 4 straight games, 4th youngest all time. And he's hit 9. He's never hit more than 11 in the minor leagues. Now he's a kid. He's only 21 years old, so who knows how his body will develop and what kind of a power threat he'll be.
Yeah, it just proves if you really want somebody, and they wanted him in the draft, they eventually went and got him, and they got him in a trade.
A strikeout for out number 2 here in the 2nd, and back to the top of the order in Brett Gardner. They got him from the Cubs. He was the centerpiece of that deal that sent Aroldis Chapman to Chicago. Short-term fix for the Cubs. They end up winning the World Series. Chapman obviously a huge part of that, and maybe a franchise cornerstone picked up by Brian Cashman and the Yankees when Gleyber Torres came northeast.
Am I the only one that feels like if I were commissioner, I wouldn't allow that?
What?
If you have a player, trade him, get the prospects, and then sign that player back in free agency.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's back here. You wouldn't allow that?
No, that would be one rule I would.
Good luck. Good luck passing that by the Players Association.
Well, I mean, you know, you still have 29 other teams you can sign with.
Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen. With 2 out, nobody on. Gardner hits one off the end of the bat, 2-1.
So what the Yankees have done is pretty much, I mean, there's no guarantees, right? There's no guarantees in sports. But I'm telling you, they don't have a – they want to win the division, but they know they're going to be in the playoffs. So that's a stress relief. You can let your young players play. You know you're good enough. Baseball has your haves and have-nots. You know, some teams are rebuilding. And the Yankees now are in position to just kind of steamroll through the year and then try to assess, as you talk about, make those necessary changes in the second half to improve their chances to go farther. Game 7 against the Astros, they almost went to the World Series. This year they're a better team, but they do need one more starter to make a difference because they're going to score runs. They've only lost 1 game this year where they've held their opponent to 4 runs or less.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat. Here's a fly ball into left center field. Pretty well hit off the bat of Gardner, and Trout goes to it. Hey, another home run. Another home run, this time off the bat of Austin Romine. Off the pole in right. It's a 4-1 game. Yankees on top back after this from our local sponsors. Top home run hitting team, the top run producing team in the big leagues is at it again, leading 4-1 after 2, and Sonny Gray drops a breaking ball in there for strike 1 to Zach Cozart, who singled and scored his first time up. Mike Trout, Justin Upton will follow if anybody gets on Albert Pujols. A 1 pitch. Pitch was up. Cozart went after it. 0-2. Sonny Gray is one of those field type pitchers, and when he can get ahead in the count, he can experiment a little bit. They used to say that about David Cone. Mike Mussina was the same way. That breaking ball misses down and away.
See, and it's been an uncharacteristic type of night where he's kind of gone underneath his fastball up in the zone, which therefore makes that power slider. You can't start that pitch that low and get hitters to swing at it. You need the fastball down at the same height he's throwing that power slider. That's what makes him so good.
And Kenny Rosenthal, that slider's got a little different grip to it for Sonny Gray.
It does, and before his last start against Kansas City, Sonny Gray went to Masahiro Tanaka and said, listen, my slider's been inconsistent. I'm not happy with it. They talked a bit, Tanaka showed Gray his grip. Gray adopted that grip and had a lot of success that last start.
Here is a laser into center off the bat of Cozart. That was smoked, and Zach is 2 for 2 and on to start the third. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Budweiser. Join the team that enjoys responsibly. Budweiser reminds you to drink wiser. Beautiful warm night in this great city. And over here in the Bronx, the Yankees lead by 3, and with the leadoff man on here in the third, here's Trout. The two-time MVP waits for the first from Gray. Good one there for strike one.
They have faced each other a lot. 13 strikeouts against Mike Trout, which is a lot for their matchup. Trout has gotten him a few times for some home runs.
Hit one off the wall his first time. Now he goes the opposite field, and a slicer into right gets past Judge. Cozart will dig for third. Another double for Trout. And the Angels are in business here in the third. Double to left, double to right. He is tough to pitch to.
This is kind of his stage, you know. I mean, he's on the West Coast. A lot of people don't get to see a lot of games because they're so late. And this guy has gotten better with his discipline and chase percentage. He's not striking out as much. It just seems like if he wants to do something different, he can. He could steal bases if he wants. He can hit for power, improve defense.
Look at those numbers here at Yankee Stadium.
I'm telling you, this is where he grew up not too far from here.
Millville, New Jersey. And yeah, I would say he likes playing here where the lights just seem a little bit brighter than anywhere else in the big leagues. Second and third opportunity here for the Angels, and the 0-1 pitch to Upton, who struck out his first time. Inside. Right now Trout is aiming toward a 40-40 year. Right on the edge stolen base wise. He has stolen 12, hasn't been caught. The home runs, you expect him to get there rather easily the way he's going. That's outside, 2-1.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, I was disappointed in the middle of his career when they kind of shut that down because it's a dual threat. I mean, that's what makes him so incredibly difficult. 3 runner-up MVPs and what, a couple winners?
Yeah.
And that's just
2-1 pitch is in for a strike 2-2. His first year in the big leagues when he won the AL Rookie of the Year, hit .326, 30 homers, 83 RBIs, stole 49 bases.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're fast. That's an art. And he came to the big leagues and stole almost 50. Here's a 2-2 to Upton. Just got a piece.
See, now Sonny Gray can work off of that pitch he just threw to Upton. He can get another 3 inches if he wants on a 2-2 pitch and expand the zone from where that last pitch Upton fouled off.
Angels down by 3, second and third, nobody out, 2-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Bounces in.
Didn't get it close enough. That's the difference for him this year with the Yankees. Look, the transition's not been the easiest one. This kid, when he broke in with the A's, had that epic playoff duel against Justin Verlander, ice in his veins. He was phenomenal. And I think the expectations coming over here in a trade, supposed to go to the next level, have been a tough transition for Sonny Gray. And if he can get on track, it's like adding another pitcher, even though they've had him. They just haven't had the version of him.
3-2, a check swing on a pitch down and away, and that will load him up.
And as crazy as this sounds, if he would have thrown that pitch after the one that Upton had fouled, he would have got a swing and miss. You saw he almost went after that, even on the 3-2 count. Now, not a guy you want up with the bases loaded unless you can induce him to hit the ball on the ground. Most double plays, I believe, in the history of the game.
Look at the grand slams, though. 14 in that familiar stance. Bat held high, waiting for the first from Sonny Gray with the bases loaded, in on his hands a bit and fouled out of play, strike one. Albert Pujols, who has 3,015 hits. He'd have 3,008 were it not for my broadcast partner John Smoltz.
Whoo, he was tough to pitch to over there.
Here comes the 0-1. Tied him up. Went around. Strike two. First base umpire Mike Estabrook said he went too far. Gray leading by 3, but for how long? Here's the 0-2. Bounced in and blocked nicely by Romine.
Early on the year so far, even though as he's getting up there in age, Pujols still handles either fastball, 4-seam, or 2-seam. He's been struggling a little bit with the slider and the changeup. And there you see the 0-2 slider just in the dirt.
One ball, 2 strikes. Pujols waits. Sacks jam. Struck him out on a pitch inside, 1 away. And 5 strikeouts now for Sonny Gray. That was a big one, obviously.
Well, he buries a fastball in after he got the check swing. He goes in there. See the movement on it. Way off the plate. 2-seam action. You see that late movement, and Albert Pujols could not put it in play. And for Albert and the Angels, obviously, if he didn't hit the ball in the air, if he hit it on the ground, it's a double play. Now you got Ohtani up with 1 out, and he's definitely looking to lift the ball.
It's what he's done with runners in scoring position this year, hitting .455, and he takes the ball up and away. He's 23 years old. 6'4", 200. He can run, by the way. That's another part of his game. So pitching, hitting, he's got a ton of power, uses a lot of lower body strength, and puts everything he's got into the swing. And when he connects, night, up and away, 2-0.
And he's done a tremendous job in adjusting from his high leg kick to a shorter version. In spring training, it was suggested. He adapted, and he has not missed a beat. That is not an easy transitional move as a hitter, to make that kind of change when you're used to the big leg kick. Now he just keeps his foot almost short, down, and then raw power.
2-0. And that's foul. That gives us a chance to look at this. I mean, there were some during spring training at a terrible spring that thought he was going to be a bust for all the millions that the Angels gave him. And look on the right, the leg kick is gone. Eric Hinsky, the hitting coach, suggested it. How do you make that transition that fast?
That's just great athleticism. Look, this guy is no question a great athlete, and to do what he's doing. So his ability to feel the change is probably the greatest asset he's got going, because once you feel the change, it then clicks. Some guys, it takes a while to change that muscle memory. But I was one of those guys that said he might need to start in the minors based on his spring training.
He has hit 6 home runs, driven in 19. Big chance here. 2-1 is down 3-1. You saw Eric Hinsky, who was the assistant hitting coach with the Cubs for Joe Madden, let go and signed on now. He and Paul Sorrento handling the hitting instruction for Mike Scioscia. Here's a 3-1. That will force home a run. Ball 4, up and away, and it's a 4-2 game here in the third. RBI number 20 for the rookie Shohei Ohtani. And it's a 2-run game. Bases still loaded, and still only 1 out. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, on the go, with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details, as Larry Rothschild is out to try to guide Sonny Gray back into the strike zone and help him get out of this third.
Yeah, it's a good meeting. Of course, they limit this year how many times you can go out to the mound, but I'm sure the conversation is going to be, look, trust your fastball down. Even if you don't get the pitch, we got a chance to get a ball on the ground. We got a contact hitter in Simmons, and just maybe you can get an induced double play, but you got to get an out even if you're going to trade up a run.
Well, Simmons is one of the guys the Angels won up there. Singled his first time. Started the night hitting .330. His average good for 4th best in the American League. He's got 2 grand slams to his credit. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Gray misses badly down and away, ball 1. And this is like a different guy who had a perfect game going into the 5th inning in Kansas City. Didn't give up his first runs until late in the game. Won 10-1, and it was strike 1, and then a good pace on the mound for Sonny Gray, and that's not the case tonight.
Yeah, early on, the first 3 or 4 pitches had me a little concerned with where his fastball was ending up.
1-0 pitch is hit in the air to center, right at Gardner. Tagging and coming to the plate is Trout, and it's a 1-run game on a sac fly by Simmons to center. It's 4-3 here in the third.
See, believe it or not, that's not bad. Sacrifice an out for a run to get your mind away from, is this inning going to be a big inning? And now he has a chance to still leave with the lead. Some guys press when their team gives them a lead early. When you start thinking about, okay, I've gotten 4 runs, now this is mine. You would never think that way, but because he hasn't had a hot streak or feeling comfortable on the mound, he presses. I'm sure it's natural to press. Of course, you don't want the fans getting on you.
Now runners at first and second, 2 out for Valbuena, who takes a strike. Valbuena struck out his first time. Tying run at second, go ahead run is at first. That's Ohtani. Gray has allowed a single, a double, walk 2, and a sac fly in the inning. Oh, 1. That is foul. Strike 2. Gray's had a tough time pitching in this, his new home ballpark. First 10 home starts, an ERA over 6. Coming off that road win in Kansas City. It was 4-1, now 4-3. Now the 0-2 pitch to Valbuena bounces in, and Romine's done a nice job and almost got Upton down at second. Romine has been busy blocking balls behind the plate.
And that, along with just continuity with Sanchez, was why Sonny Gray had a hard time throwing to him. You know, he throws a lot of pitches in the dirt, and he relies on his catcher to make those stops, and it wasn't happening last year and a little bit early on this year, and there was no rhythm, at least better rhythm with Romine.
1-2. Struck him out on a pitch up and away, and that ends the inning as the Angels get 2 in the third. Big bats coming up. Judge, Gregorius, and Stanton for the Yankees, leading by 1. First pitch to Aaron Judge, bounces in, ball 1. Judge sent one over the wall his first time up. His solo shot followed the home run by Gardner. Yankees have hit 25 home runs over the last 7 games. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3 tonight, the other by Austin Romine last inning. But a 1-run game now in the 1-1. Phil Cuzzi looked like he was going to ring that pitch up for strike 2. Instead, it's ball 2.
Well, Judge, because of his size and so difficult to call strikes, gets a lot of strikes called that are not.
Big swing and a miss, 2-2.
The ball down is a hard pitch for him to hit, and a lot of those pitches you see right there, 31 of those that were technically a ball called a strike, 13 away, nothing up, easier to see that, and a couple inside.
So just to further explain that, 48 pitches out of the zone called for strikes against Aaron Judge. That's the most. And like you say, I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And so he has a lot of calls to go against him. 3-2 pitch is down and away, a leadoff walk, and that's the first walk of the night for Barria. Flipping the Switch is sponsored by Boost Mobile. The 3 home runs tonight already. Gardner, Judge, a no-doubter into right center, and then Austin Romine down the line and off the pole and right. Batter will be Didi Gregorius.
I'd like to see him flip the switch back on. He started so hot to the season and really been in a big funk.
And that's foul. To put numbers to it, John, Didi, first 25 games hitting .368, 10 homers, 30 RBIs.
Yeah. I mean, he was there. He was carrying them. I mean, they were 9-9 to start the season. So they'll take the record that they are currently on, even though Didi has not been part of that offensive onslaught. But I'd like to get him turned around a little bit.
Popped up left side of the infield. Valbuena. 1 out. Talked about the 9-9 start. As we look back over the young season, they started 7.5 games in back of Boston in the AL East. But then they went crazy. Best 18-game stretch, 17-1. They've had 4 players with 10 or more home runs in the first 40 games. First team to do that for the Yankees, and they lead the majors in home runs. They've added 3 more to their total here tonight and have 83.
And they've got some pretty big comeback wins too. It's not like they've bludgeoned everybody. I mean, they have the ability to wear down a staff and wear down a pitcher, and in the late innings still be able to beat the best in the pen.
The 0-1. A ball and a strike. Not only did they have that 17-1 stretch, but they won 22 of 26. Lost 2 of 3 in Texas during this past week. Won last night 2-1. Lead tonight 4-3. A game and a half behind Boston in the AL East. That's how good the Red Sox have been, and that's strike 2 on Stanton.
You know, Stanton's similar numbers to last year, historic year. They bought the same of where he is now to where he was last year. His stance is not the same, and certainly the environment he's in is not the same. I don't know if he can continue. He's trying to work out some kinks and timing, but he's pretty closed.
2-2.
Barria can throw another pitch right there. If he can lay off 2 in a row like that, it almost as if his crouch and how he bends down, he wants to come out and obviously hit the ball to the moon. That pitch down there would give him some issues.
59 home runs a year ago with the Marlins. 2-2 pitch. Not close. Full count. Marcus Timms, the hitting coach. Some old, some new on this coaching staff for Aaron Boone, the 45-year-old first-year manager in the big leagues. Runner at first, Judge draws a throw. And right off the right fist of Briseño, the catcher, was kind of the throw-in guy in that deal between the Angels and the Braves when the Angels got the shortstop Andrelton Simmons. Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down, a steal, and Judge will pop up and go to third. Stolen base number 3. It'll be an error on top of it and a runner at third, 2 out.
This pitch right here to Stanton, he really pulls off. This is a breaking ball over the middle of the plate. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do, but he pulls off of that pitch. And then, of course, Judge going on the pitch ends up at third. I'd get out of the way too, young man.
So Briseño in his major league debut, the catcher, is charged with an error. As I said, stolen base number 3 for Judge, and now a runner at third, 2 out for Sanchez. Second time Stanton has struck out tonight. Ball 1.
I'm wondering if he doesn't have the feel he normally does. That changeup right there, we haven't seen as many of them. It's a really good pitch. He's gone to the breaking ball a little bit more to this lineup, but that changeup, he'll get a lot of swings and misses, but maybe the feel just not there that he has in all the other games.
1-0 pitch is popped up a mile high on the infield in foul ground, and the catcher Briseño watches it end up in the seats. Ball and a strike, and you saw the lefty Ian Kroll getting loose for Mike Scioscia in the bullpen.
To show you how good he's been on the road, coming in 2-0 to 0.87 ERA. He started a game in San Francisco and didn't last very long because he had a 21 pitch at bat to Brandon Belt, which I've never heard of in my life.
Yeah.
And then 49 pitches in that inning, and there was just no way. That's how good. You take that game away, he's had an incredible season ERA-wise. But this, a little bit much for him so far tonight with the Yankees.
Here comes a 1-1. Foul tip at the plate. He signed as an international free agent. Barria did at the age of 16. He's from Panama City, Panama. He's only 21 years old. He'll turn 22 in the middle of July. 500 record in the minors, and actually pitched in the Futures game last year. Was a California League All-Star, and at the age of 21, he's been very good, and he's been tested here early in the year. 1-2 pitch from Barria. That is smoke down the line. It is foul. Wow.
That was quick. There's the breaking ball again. You see the big circle. That one, more of a slider break. He's going to have to go to this curveball slower break to get Sanchez out in front. Just a long strike.
Man,
tell ourselves when we're in the mound.
Another 1-2 pitch is popped foul right side. Did that guy catch that ball? I mean, if anything, that ball caught him up in the seats. But it looked like whatever fan was on the other end of that thing got it and kept it. Here's a 1-2. Another foul out of play. This thing was just pounded. And I mean, how do you catch that?
Body caught it first.
Wow. Had to be the furthest thing from that fan's mind getting a souvenir up there. 1-2 pitch. That is hit in the air to left center field. Back is Upton to grab it as it hangs up off the bat of Sanchez. Man. New York City. We're in the Bronx where they hit the ball very hard. 4-3 after 3. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Boost Mobile and by Marvel Strike Force. Download now for free from the App Store or Google Play Store. Glad you're with us tonight. Yankees lead at 4-3. Led 4-1. Angels got 2 runs in the third. Bat here in the fourth with Cole Calhoun, Briseño the catcher, and Zach Cozart against Sonny Gray. 1-0 pitch. We'll put Kevin Burkhardt to work after Cole Calhoun does something to start the inning. Cubs and the Giants. I saw the Cubs making some roster moves today as Darvish went on the disabled list. That's fouled back, 2 balls and a strike, and he's been no real nice way to say it. He's been a major disappointment at the beginning of a long-term deal. With a 6-year deal with the Cubs?
Yeah, I'm sure when they signed him, they thought they could fix a couple things and probably get him closer to the pitcher he was with the Rangers. There's still time for that to happen, but the DL's never a fun place.
That is down and in the count 3-1. So yet again, Sonny Gray falls behind a hitter.
Sonny Gray is in danger of not completing 5 innings. He's been given a lead, and now this is a important inning for him. He would have loved to have gotten a clean inning and thrown more strikes.
3-1, full count. Surprised that Calhoun was willing to let that one sail right through the strike zone, hitting 159 with a count in his favor.
He would like to get that ball closer in where he can pull it. He's had some good swings inner half of the plate.
That's up and away, a leadoff walk, and the third of the night for Sonny Gray. Kevin Burkhardt, what's going on? All right, Kevin, thank you. A lot of noise around the Cubs and their president Theo Epstein, their general manager Jed Hoyer during the week. They're 4 out behind the Brewers, who seem to be really well put together in the NL Central. And the noise had to do with Manny Machado and him potentially being dealt to the north side of Chicago.
That would be awfully interesting, and I wonder if Milwaukee, given the same opportunity, let's just say come All-Star break, they got that 6-game lead, if they're going to learn from last year, where they didn't pull the trigger on a trade, and Chicago did, and Chicago ran them down. This is a much different Milwaukee team that if you infuse that ball club with one starter, which is what they needed last year.
And they knew that going into the season.
They did, and this year there'll be a lot of pressure on that front office to exactly do that.
Here's the first base hit for Briseño. Nice job by Stanton to cut it off and hold Briseño, who is trying to stretch it, and tagged out at second easily by Torres. What a good play by Stanton, who's playing more in left than he or Aaron Boone expected, and the first big league hit for Jose Briseño leads him into an out at second base.
Yeah, he did not get a good visual of this when he was rounding the bases, I'm pretty sure, and Stanton knows exactly where to throw the baseball based on who's running, and at this point it's just whatever he's trying to do, he knows it, but he gets good wood on it, and when he gets to first, when he sees this, I think he sees something totally different, and now he's done.
Now the infield comes in, tying run at third, only 1 out, and a good breaking ball for strike 1 from Sonny Gray, as the batter is Cozart, who is 2 for 2 tonight.
So consecutive days, 2 catchers have been thrown out by Yankee outfielders at second base.
Last night Maldonado by Judge, and now Briseño by Stanton. That's strike 2. Giancarlo played right in Miami. That's where Judge plays here with the Yankees, so Stanton out in left. Action for the Yankees in their pen, and a swing and a miss. Struck him out. Cozart misses an RBI chance as he becomes the 7th strikeout victim for Gray. 2 out.
See, and it's been that strange outing for Gray because his stuff at times, all you got to do is look to the 7 strikeouts. is the kind of stuff that they're hoping to see more consistent. There is a tight breaking ball that fools a pretty good hitter, and he had no chance to make contact with that pitch.
You saw Jonathan Holder, the right-hander, getting loose for New York. Now here's Trout, who has a pair of doubles, an RBI, and a run scored.
I wouldn't be too keen on pitching to him right now with the 2 at-bats he's had off of Sonny Gray.
Upton next, 2 out. Tying run at third here in the 4th. Inside, 2-0. Even more dangerous behind in the count if Gray is going to still try to battle with Trout. We'll see on this pitch. That's over the outside corner with a fastball, 2-1.
Yeah, that's a great pitch there, and that ball came back and dotted the outside corner. I would think you got to go breaking ball now. There's not much Trout would have done with that. That looked like a ball the whole time out of his hands.
2-1. That is hammered into left, back at the wall. It's gone, and the Angels lead it. What a night for Mike Trout. 2 doubles, a 2-run home run, and it's a 5-4 LA lead.
I just 2 bases open, 1 base open. You've got to make sure you bounce something. That was just not a good pitch by Sonny Gray to the best player in the universe, and this ball spins and stays right there.
Just absolutely pasted by Mike Trout into left center field, and the Angels have their first lead of the night. 8 total bases for Mike Trout in 3 at-bats. 3 extra base hits, and now a strike to Upton. I think he likes playing here in New York.
Yeah, he sure does.
He's kind of got that mantle look to him. This one hits Upton. And we'll see if that's the end of the night for Sonny Gray, and if so, this will be a really disappointing outing for the Yankee right-hander.
Yes, it will, especially coming off of the game he had before this.
And Aaron Boone has seen enough. To the bullpen he goes. Holder was up. Mike Trout has homered in 3 straight games, and his latest has put the Angels on top. And more home struggles for Sonny Gray, and Mike Trout got him. All smiles in that Angel dugout. Tomorrow, one of the biggest races of the year. Kevin Harvick looks to make it 3 in a row. The Coca-Cola 600 on Fox. It all starts at 5:30 Eastern, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Harvick trying to go 3 in a row. Trout has homered in 3 in a row, and now it's 5-4 Angels. Here's Albert Pujols taking on Holder, who starts him with a breaking ball for strike 1. There are the numbers for Gray. It was a big deal, John, when the Yankees pulled the trigger, got him at the deadline last year on the 31st of July. They gave 3 good young prospects, Dustin Fowler, James Caprillion, and Jorge Mateo, to get him, and it has not been what they had hoped. Strike 2.
Yeah, and they're going to have to figure some things out, because as I said in the onset, they have to have him. I'm a big believer in Sonny Gray. I mean, the transition to New York doesn't work for everybody, and sometimes you build up a bigger expectation for yourself than maybe even possible. And I don't know what it's going to take to click, but when it does, this team will have benefited for it, because he has the arsenal. There's no doubt. Is it maybe overthinking, too analytical? That can be part of it.
Upton the runner at first, 2 out, and an 0-2 count on Pujols, who's 0 for 2 tonight and now 0 for 3. Struck him out. Good work by Holder. hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 11+ games, but the Angels now lead it by 1 after 3.5. First pitch is a strike to Greg Bird, who's welcomed back to this lineup after March ankle surgery. They removed a bone spur. His long road back has led him into tonight's lineup. First time of the season. Second time that right ankle's been operated on. A guy who missed 2016 with a torn labrum after teasing the Yankees with a great end of the year in 2015. That's strike 2.
Yeah, again, you know, this lineup already potent, just got better when this guy gets into rhythm and gets into his stroke, because last year you see the Angels are already right-handed dominant. That's why they need Ohtani's bat in there. Same thing with the Yankees. They could use this left-hander to break up, if nothing else, the way opposing managers face this lineup.
It's kind of the travels and issues for Greg Bird. He called up. You see the 11 home runs down the back end of the season in 2015. Missed 16. Missed the majority of last year, and this is his first game of 2018 here tonight. Barria thought he had a strikeout. Instead, he missed up and away, 2-2. Barria has struck out 3, walked 1, and all of a sudden he's leading by 1.
Yeah. He's hung in there. It sure didn't start out well for him.
2-2. Outside, not close, full count. Greg Bird leading it off in the 4th. 5-4 Angels, and a foul off to the right. I do want to pin down Kenny Rosenthal before the end of the night and find out where he thinks Manny Machado will end up. And I don't want to hear any dancing around the answer. It's a very simple question that really requires only one word for an answer, a team name. Strike 3, and Bird is gone, and strikeout number 4 for Barria. All right, Ken. Manny Machado is in what uniform in August of 2018?
2-word answer, Joe. Not Baltimore. Actually, I don't know. But this Cubs train that was rolling earlier in the week, come on. It's not even June, not even July. We're not even close to the non-waiver deadline. There are going to be a number of teams interested in Machado, even some teams that you might not think of because they'd be willing to move pieces off their normal positions to get him. So whether it's the Cubs, whether it's the Indians, which I doubt because of their pitching needs, the Braves, who have a short-term need at third base, I'm not sure. It could be another team entirely, but he is going to get traded, and he is playing out of his mind right now.
And Duhar with a 2-hopper to short. 2 out. Okay, yeah, all that's great, but just give me a name. Give me a team. I know you're a journalist. I know you want to hedge everything, but trust your gut. Go with something.
Joe, I usually like to talk with some measure of information. I'll go with Cubs just for the sake of giving you an answer.
Okay.
But don't hold me to it.
Okay. Fair enough. I did that to you. That works. That's down and away. Ball 1 to the number 8 hitter, Romine.
I don't know why I'm thinking wild card team, even though this team wouldn't be a wild card when you hear me say it. But for their needs long term, they wouldn't need him at shortstop. I don't know why I think the Dodgers are going to try to make a play with Seager out the whole year. I don't know what team, first and foremost, that you trade him to will be able to sign him, or if it's just the need for that particular year end. That way you don't give up as much.
Well, that's the question. I mean, who are you going to give up? You're going to give up a load of talent for a guy that may, if you're the Dodgers, be enough to win what looks like not a great NL West, at least at the moment. Might be. Maybe that's worth it.
Yeah, I think the Orioles are in a precarious situation from how much can you really demand.
Here is another hit for Romine. He hit a 2-run homer his first time, and he's on with 2 out here in the 4th inning. He's 2 for 2.
Because ultimately, your leverage from the Orioles would have been greater last year.
Yeah.
That, this year you're basically renting a great player. Unless you think you're renting a player to sign that player, the greatest chance to sign that player, then you give up more. But
is there any sense in your mind that it doesn't matter who he's traded to? Manny Machado does not seem like he's going to be willing to just waive his free agency and lock down with one team. I think he wants to see what's out there.
Yeah, and teams like Philly keep getting thrown out there because their capacity to spend seems to be greater than most in a team that's rebuilding and on the cusp of doing something special. You always hear Harper's name, and you hear Machado, and you even hear rumors of someday Trout.
Well, you hear $40 million a year.
Yeah,
is what you hear. Kenny, what do you think about that? I mean, where the Orioles sit and Machado being dealt, fine, but how much are they going to get for a guy that's going to walk a couple of months later?
Well, we've seen potential free agents traded in recent years of high value. One of them, Aroldis Chapman, and he brought back Gleyber Torres. So it is possible for them to get a lot, but you guys are right. There is no chance, zero, he forsakes his free agency to sign an extension with the team. It's not in his interest to do that, to cut off his market. Now, there is one other twist here that's kind of interesting. He made the commitment to play shortstop at the start of this season. He wants to stick to that commitment. He does not want to move to third base in the middle of the year, move back to third base. Now, he doesn't have a no-trade clause. He doesn't have a choice. But if you acquire him to play third, you run a little bit of a risk that he's not going to be entirely happy.
There's a little pop-up to the right side off the bat of Gleyber Torres, and Gleyber is 0 for 2. The young man, 21 years old, is homered in 4 straight. 5-4, LA Angels leading after 4. Shohei Ohtani takes a strike, and we're underway in the 5th inning. Angels lead 5-4.
Ohtani, good breaking ball hitter, holder. We saw some breaking balls to Pujols.
He's been really good out of the pen this year for the Yankees since coming up in April. Bottom kind of falls out of that pitch, and Ohtani in the hole 0-2. And a strikeout on a high fastball. 3 pitches, 1 away. It all starts here for future baseball stars. The 2018 Major League Baseball Draft. Coverage begins Monday, June 4th on MLB Network and MLB.com. Did you draw that straw over at MLB?
No, but I've looked at some breakdowns. There's some pitchers out there that, should we say the upside, I mean, who isn't? They're all factory throwing 98 mile an hour. Everybody's trying to throw as hard as they can, but there's some young studs.
Here is a laser into left, and back is Stanton tiptoeing on the track. And on a hard hit ball, Andrelton Simmons is out number 2 here in the 5th.
Of all the sports, I mean, the draft is no science. You hear that all the time, but I think baseball, that has to be one of the harder jobs to forecast potential stars. I mean, there's some teams that haven't missed very often lately. The Cubs have done a great job. The Astros have done a great job. Certainly you could say the Yankees, and they're drafting some of their talent, but you see a lot of late round picks and a lot of guys that maybe not on the forefront of everyone's radar develop and blossom into something great.
Here's a fastball for a strike to Valbuena. Harold Reynolds covering that draft.
Oh yeah, that is right up his alley.
Valbuena doesn't like that call. He's had 2 where the shoulders go down like, are you kidding me? 0-2. Harold was up here, gave you a little gut punch while you were talking.
He did.
Back in about the 2nd inning.
Completely surprised me. Sounded like I was really driving home my point. And then he got to his knees and couldn't stop laughing.
2 out, nobody on for Luis Valbuena, and the 1-2 pitch is fouled off the end of the bat. You know what that is? That's just bad stage managing by Dom.
I saw Dom on the floor before Harold got here. Is that maybe Harold got him, pushed him down?
Might have been. Harold fought his way through Dom and got to you. Two out, nobody on, and a pitch up and away, 2-2. I have to be nice to Dom. He's got more dirt on me than any announcer he works with. And he works with all the stars up here in New York. What a life he's carved out. That's down and in. Full count. He's got his own parking space at the Garden. Three-two pitch. Valbuena checks his swing and says, "Thank you for not calling that a strike."
Wow.
A 2-out walk keeps the top of the fifth alive.
That was a pretty good walk for Valbuena, who loves to let the barrel fly through the zone. He had some good takes there.
And now Cole Calhoun. Sounds like a bad guy out in the Wild West. I'll tell you a story about Cole Calhoun. Stood about 5'11". Swung the bat from the left side. Wore a goatee. Took a strike.
Right about now, I will be telling Cole Calhoun, don't look at that board, and for the next 7 days, just hit 300 for the next 7 days.
Yeah, not fun, I would imagine, to look up and see a 159 average for a guy who's, you know, a talented big league player all the way around. He's got multiple phases to his game that plays at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. And the most frustrating part for a hitter is that you grind in the cage, you look at video, you probably overanalyze, just trying to figure out when is it going to click, when's that bloop going to fall to get me going.
That's strike two. That would, I imagine, be another thing. You look up at the board. If you're Cole Calhoun, you see 2 strikes a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going good, it seems like it's 2-0 all the time. When you're going bad, it's 0-2 before you get to the box. And this game can just eat you up mentally. The physical part you can train for, but definitely a game of streaks.
Romine wanted that pitch up. It was delivered up. Calhoun laid off, 2-2. Calling for a changeup on 2-2. 1 on, 2 out. And that floats up and away. A full count. That means the runner at first, Valbuena, will get a head start here with 2 down.
Always a big deal with 2 outs. Then you get the gap you're trying to protect. Turns into an easy run producing double.
Humid night. Ball has been carrying. We've seen 4 home runs total. 3-2. Runner goes. Struck him out. Saloon doors swung open, and Cole Calhoun was upset. He get just struck out. But here comes the judge, leading it off in the bottom of the 5th. Down 1. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Top of the order for the Yankees, 5-4 Angels. And you have to credit this 21-year-old right-hander, Jaime Barria, really hanging in there tonight. He is battled. He hits the outside corner. He leads by 1 after he gave up back-to-back home runs to start his night in the first. A 2-run shot off the foul pole in the second, and nothing since.
That's all I need to know about what they've been telling me about this kid, and they love his moxie, and certainly giving up 2 home runs to start the game against a lineup that you know you got to go through at least 2-3 times. I think Mike Sosa would be ecstatic if he can get through this 5th after the start to this ball game.
Gardner, Judge, Gregorius, 1-1 pitch. And that's down the left field line. Upton gives it a look. It's out of play. That's strike 2. They've got a couple of young pitchers, the Angels do. Heaney was good last night. They've moved Garrett Richards into tomorrow's start against Masahiro Tanaka. They've got Griffin Canning, who's a second-round pick from a year ago out of UCLA, pitching great at Double-A, and Jose Suarez, who's been moved up to Triple-A, which present opportunities for the Angels organization. And when we talked to Mike Scioscia before the game, I said, are those guys you work into the bullpen at the big league level because they have some question marks in their bullpen? He said that's not what we're thinking. We're thinking they get ready as starters, they come up as starters, and then that pushes guys from our rotation potentially into the bullpen, which is where they need help.
Yeah, especially from the length standpoint. They don't have anybody to give them length in the bullpen for the most part.
2-2. Ramirez, the right-hander, is getting ready for the Angels, and Tommy Canley is getting ready for the Yankees in their pen. He was just reinstated. Here's one into center, pretty well hit. Trout is back. 1 out. And the batter will be Judge. Game summary is sponsored by Budweiser. Mike Trout has had the big night. 3 for 3, a home run, 2 doubles, so 8 total bases, 3 RBIs. Gardner and Judge went back-to-back. And Ohtani is 0 for 2. So you and I fall into the trap. We come into the game in our little stand-up on camera that nobody ever pays any attention to as a viewer at home. But we talk about Ohtani and we talk about Gleyber Torres. And oh, by the way, the 26-year-old Mike Trout is in the ball game, and he kind of reminds us all that he's the best player out on the field.
Yeah, the Yankees should play a boxing 1 on him, meaning don't pitch to him and don't hit it to him. And right now, when they pitch to him, it's been the damage that he's done at the plate. He gets to everything that's in the air. So Judge and the towering trio are looking to try and get this game tied up, and if not, ahead.
Here's a little chopper out in front of the plate. Berea can't make the pickup, and safe at first with an infield hit is Aaron Judge. He's been on base 3 times.
So I'm going to say right now that he'll have the longest ball hit for the Yankees and the shortest ball hit for the Yankees for hits this year.
What are you calling this one?
This
6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet? A little more.
Yeah. Probably a little free throw, 15 feet.
I'm not sure if Berea comes up with that ball cleanly. He's got a chance.
He didn't react good enough. He didn't get off the mound, and again, Judge, for a big guy, can run.
So Canley getting loose for the Yankees. Ramirez getting loose for the Angels. The wheels are turning. 1 on, 1 out. Didi Gregorius takes a pitch down and in. Didi got back-to-back days off over this past week trying to hit the reset button. And he cannot wait for the calendar to hit the month of June.
Yeah, I would agree. He's been real aggressive, real pull happy. A lot of his home runs, all of his home runs are on the pull side, but a little too aggressive.
Flying into center off the end of the bat and easy for Trout. 2 down.
Wrong guy. Got to stay away from him.
And so now with 1 on, 2 out, here comes Giancarlo Stanton, who has struck out 2 times. The action continues in this series tomorrow as the Yankees wrap up against the Angels, followed by a 3-game series against the defending world champion Astros. See Judge, Stanton, Sanchez, and more at Yankee Stadium. Visit Yankees.com for tickets. Great crowd here tonight. This city and baseball buzzing with this young, fun Yankee team, and that's over the outside corner for a strike.
Maybe. That pitch was off the plate. Wow. It's a good start for Berea.
That's not close, and Stanton really not seeing the ball well from Berea.
And that first pitch called strike set up that second one. And, you know, as a hitter, you're knowing where that last pitch was called, you feel like you got to go after that one. This one should be nowhere close to the plate.
Right off the end of the bat.
That one was actually too close to the plate.
I would say one of the attributes that you would assign to the playing career of Mike Scioscia was he was gritty. He was tough. And whether it was blocking the plate, being a leader behind the plate, guiding pitching staff, he loves guys that are gritty and tough.
Yes.
And he's seeing a 21-year-old pitch here tonight that has shown some grit. He's one good pitch away from getting through 5 innings with a lead. And the next pitch will be pitch number 88 on the night.
So here's the first pitch, right? The first pitch sets up this at bat. That's off the plate, called a strike. Now he's got his eyes, Stanton's eyes, way off the plate. So continue to creep off the plate. Get out there.
Briseño sets up out there, and that's off the end of the bat again. Sorry, go ahead, John.
And that's what the catcher is doing to him. That last gesture, get the ball down. Get the ball down, you got a strikeout.
For as closed as Stanton is, he still can't get there.
Right. That's just too much of the plate, even for.
Another 0-2 pitch from Jaime Barria. Instead, he steps off. Tying a run at first, 2 out, runner goes, pitch a ball, throw down and out to end the inning. Aaron Judge, who stole a base back in the 3rd, is thrown out to end the 5th. And Jaime Barria fights his way through 5 innings tonight. 5-4 Angels into the 6th. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by USAA. This Memorial Day, join us in honoring our nation's fallen heroes. And by Ego Power Plus. Ego, power beyond belief. Five 5-4 game into the 6th inning we go. It'll be the number 9 hitter, Briseño. And back to the top, Zach Cozart, Mike Trout. Tommy Kahnle comes into the game. 6 games reinstated from the DL. Tendinitis in his shoulder. The velocity was down. They shut him down. He had to work his way back on the active roster last night, and he brings it home at 94 for strike 1 on Briseño.
Fastball changeup combination, but you saw those strikeouts to walk. That's the one thing he's going to have to get a little bit better, and partly probably due to that injury he was having commanding the baseball. Too many walks.
Big weapon out of the bullpen last year for the New York Yankees. And they had some guys that could come out of the bullpen, throw hard, joining with David Robertson, Chad Green, Betances when he was able to control pitches, and then obviously Aroldis Chapman. They can shut down a ball game.
They can. Betances is the swing man, just like Sonny Gray's the swing man in the starting rotation. If they get Betances back to normal, man, you're talking about a beast of a bullpen. And that's Chapman not even being the 103, 104 mile an hour Chapman anymore.
Chapman got a 4-out save last night, brought into the game to get Ohtani. Ended up saving the ball game for Aaron Boone, who has started his big league managerial career at the moment 17 games over 500. And they are 19-7 here at home. Best record out there. 1-2 pitch. Chop foul.
You know, talking to Booney, it's really been amazing. They started off sluggish. Everyone, the sky's falling. 9-9. Boston's going to run away with the division for everybody else's mindset. Then they reel off that 17 out of 18. But they've had some travel issues. They've had some complications that he said, my ball club has handled it perfectly. You find out a lot about your club when you go through some tough times and things don't go the way you want to, especially on some travel days and off days. And he said he couldn't be more happier with the way the clubhouse is and the way the guys react to whatever they're dealing with.
Yeah, they basically back-to-back trips had to deal with nightmare travel situations.
Sleeping in the airport, sleeping in on the plane. Some things you can't predict when you're going through a long season.
2-2 pitch is chopped foul by Briseño. And yet everybody who is listening to us talk about the poor travel woes of the New York Yankees are thinking, yeah, I've slept on an airport floor before, and I've had flights canceled and had to go take a courtesy shuttle over to a hotel and bleary-eyed check into a hotel room at 4:30 in the morning.
Relatively speaking, on a
Go ahead, finish this. I want to hear what you say.
On a season where you travel a lot and a lot of eyeballs are on you, it's a little different. I get it, though. It's all relative. Yes, we don't have to carry our luggage and stuff like that.
Right.
But in this city, where they expect the best out of you.
Here is ball 4 inside, and I think both teams are kind of searching for the strike zone here tonight. So the count was 0-2, and Briseño ends up working for a walk. Kenny, you want in on this conversation?
Just have a funny story about Brett Gardner. After that incident the other night with the flights and sleeping and all that, he was hungry. They get home in the morning. It's 10:30 in the morning. He still has his dress clothes on. He goes to his local deli in his dress clothes to get a sandwich, and the guy behind the counter starts saying, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And Brett had to explain, listen, it was a little bit of an unusual night.
You're not going to see any players with their suits on at that hour of the day, typically.
Maybe he was going in for a job interview. First pitch to Cozart, who is 2 for 3, is lined foul down the left field line. Canely coming back off the disabled list. The 0-1 pitch. Strike 2. Velocity was down in the low 90s when they had to shut him down, and that last pitch at 95. And he can rush it up there better than that.
Yeah, he's definitely got the velocity back, and he started the first 2 hitters 0-2. He needs a better ending here on this at bat.
Walked Briseño, and now a ground ball to Andujar. He gets the lead man. Nope. As it's in and out of the glove of Torres. And Glaber will be charged with another misplay. He's made 3 errors, had a couple of misplays in the series in Kansas City. And it's an error here for Torres, who spent his short time in the minor leagues at shortstop, trying to learn at second base.
And ideally, you would want that throw more towards first base, because Andujar has got to lead him, and that ball was behind him. Yes, he should have caught it, but as trying to make the transfer to turn the double play is the reason why I believe he didn't glove that ball for the 1 out.
So here's Trout again, taking a strike. Last 3 games, he hit one off Estrada. Last night off Severino, and tonight off Sonny Gray. He's had a big night. A pair of doubles, a 2-run home run, 8 total bases, 2 on, nobody out. Angels leading by a run, and the count 0-2 yet again.
So I got a great question for you. Okay. Most complete player in our game right here. If everything depended on it, will you say before his career's over he'll have a sacrifice bunt? He's never had one.
Here's the 0-2. No. Do you think that?
I think so, yeah. I think somehow, some way he'll just check that box. He'll be tired of somebody saying.
Really?
Hey, yeah, I think he's going to. There'll be a situation. I mean, hopefully he gets in some playoff games. You never know. latter part of his career.
That, or he could tweak something and maybe not feel great about cutting it loose and just drop one down. And, you know, an official scorer could just say that was a sacrifice, not bunting for a hit. But I don't think he'd ever give up an at-bat, because he can do that. Into left center field. That ball is down, cut off by Gardner. Digging for second is Trout, his third double. It's an RBI double as Briseño scores, and it's 6-4 here in the sixth. That is 10 total bases in 4 at-bats for Mike Trout.
All right, so I'm decent with math, but not with. I'm actually really good at math, but not with some of the statistical categories as you see the third double. But he came in, what, third best OPS in this stadium? He's had to have gone to number 1, right, after tonight's performance? He was number 3 behind Ted Williams, Hank Greenberg, 1.058 OPS. 1.103 was the lead.
I have no idea.
That's what we need somebody. We got the guys right now on the truck doing our dirty work.
Here's Chris Young pinch hitting here for Upton. Remember, he was hit by a pitch back in the 4th inning, and Young gets the at bat here with second and third, the infield in. The Angels with a chance to add to what is a 2-run lead. It was 4-1 Yankees. It's now 6-4 Angels, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. Young comes off the bench hitting just .154, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. Canely brings it on 1-1 and down and away, 2-1.
.02 first batter walk, .02 second batter error, and then Mike Trout said, "I'm not even getting .02."
Here comes a 2-1 pitch. And that's down 3-1 with Pujols on deck. Four extra base hits tonight for Mike Trout, tying a franchise record. He'll have at least one more at bat. 3-1 pitch is up and away. Bases will be loaded, and Pujols will bat for the second time in this game with the bases loaded. And here comes Larry Rothschild, second mound visit. First for Canely. Next Saturday, we've got 3 big games on Fox. Most of the country will see the Cubs take on the Mets. For others, Red Sox and Astros, a good one. They met in the playoffs last year. The Dodgers and the Rockies battle in the NL West. It all starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area. This is turning into a rough return from the disabled list as action has started now as Chasen Shreve gets loose for the Yankees in their pen.
Yeah, and now for Pujols, really struggling on off speed, but this is a fastball pitcher in Canely and a good fastball hitter in Pujols. So part of that conversation had to be, look, trust your off speed here. You can't just pound the ball in the zone because Albert's one of the best at destroying that.
He's got 621 career home runs. .3,008 hits without John Smoltz's help. 3,015 with.
Yeah, that's right.
And the bases are loaded for Albert Pujols with nobody out and a run home and a 2-run Angel lead. Strike one.
And he went to the off speed. So anytime the pitching coach comes out, I wish there was a stat for this, but the high percentage of strike throwing after that is pretty good. Whatever your coach sees, you just try to reset your brain and get you away from the funk that you're in.
What a job tonight by Barria. 0-1 pitch. And Jaime Barria could really be rewarded with something big here in the top of the 6th inning. His night likely is finished, and he will be leading by at least 2 when he checks out of this game after persevering through 5 innings. Here's a 1-1. Pujols shoots it into left center field, and more runs for the Angels. In to score is Cozart. In to score is Trout. Over to third is Young. 2 more runs, and it's 8-4 Angels here in the 6th. And the batter will be Ohtani. As Trout is right in the middle of the action again, and Pujols with a line drive over the head of the shortstop Gregorius.
Yeah, hanging changeup, and Pujols didn't miss it.
Still nobody out. Ball 1 outside to Ohtani. Walked with the bases loaded back in the 3rd for an RBI. He has 20. He struck out his other 2 times up. Facing Canely now in a 1-0 pitch. Late swing and a miss, a ball and a strike. 96 from the Yankee right-hander.
Ohtani, many feel right up there with the fastest guy on the team with Trout. They said this guy can fly.
The 2-1 pitch is fouled right side. 2-2. You have, John, sent the truck into scramble mode trying to come up with the OPS for Mike Trout here at Yankee Stadium. For the year, he's at 1.144 for the season overall. And a good job by Ohtani to spoil that pitch from Canely.
Well, my line of thinking is he doesn't have a ton of at-bats here at this stadium, so you would think that his 4 for 4 would go up a little bit higher than the norm. So
he has officially the highest OPS all time against the Yankees here in the live ball era. Way to go, John.
Thank you. That was big. That was really big for me.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Back up the middle. They had him played perfectly. A run scores, a double play, 2 out in the inning, but a 9-4 Angel lead. And the bases are empty with 2 down, and Aaron Boone barely let the double play get turned before he popped out of the dugout, and that's it for Tommy Canely. Shreve is coming in. Bases empty. It's a 5-run Angels lead here in the 6th. We want to send our thoughts and our condolences to one of our best friends inside the baseball family at Major League Baseball, Bernadette McDonald, who recently lost her mother. Bernie is so great to us at Fox and has been for so long. Ruth Connor Cannon, Bernie's mom, born in the Bronx, 1930. Lost recently at the age of 87 years old. So, Bernie, we're thinking about you. We miss you out here, and all of our best to you. With 2 out, nobody on, Chasen Shreve misses down and in with a ball to Andrelton Simmons in a 5-run game.
Yeah, Shreve has a condensed role usually for Boone in the bullpen. You saw the games and innings kind of close to each other, so we'll see what his role is going to be for the rest of tonight. But right now the Yankees probably stunned that they're down 9-4 after their start.
It's been a 4-run inning for the Angels on only 2 hits. And that's where it will come to an end. 4 runs, 2 hits, a big error by Torres at second. Nobody left. And after 5.5, it's a 9-4 game with the Angels on top. What a night for Mike Trout. He'll have at least, well, he's going to have a couple more at bats before the end of this night. He's got 10 total bases. He's got 3 doubles, a home run. Noé Ramirez is on the mound. Chris Young takes over in left. We're trying to find out what happened to Justin Upton. And the first pitch is inside for a ball to Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton is 0 for 2. Struck out twice against the starter Boria. And Jaime was really good here tonight after suffering 3 home runs through 2 innings. Through 3 consecutive shutout frames, and he is the pitcher of record for the Angels, trying to up his mark to 4-1. That's way outside, and the count's gone to 3-0 from Ramirez.
Well, you can see he's unorthodox, low 3/4, a little jerky in his mechanics. That gives him some deception, but he's going to rely on that fastball, curveball, and changeup.
Stanton with a count 3-0 is taking, and that's in for a strike. 3-1. Stanton, then Sanchez, then Bird. And obviously, if there's any lineup that can jump back in a game like this, it's this one here with the Yankees. They trail by 5, at one point led by as many as 3. 3-1 pitch is swung on and missed, a full count.
You know, he got going, did Stanton, after the really slow start. Power numbers will pick up, but this couple days just looks really off balance at the plate.
Able to get a piece of that and fouled it back and out of play. Still full. Bottom of the 6th inning. 9-4 Angels. 3-2 pitch is hit high and deep into left. Young to his right. Plenty of room. Has it for out number 1, and Stanton's 0 for 3. This summer, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. See those names. Excitement in the world of soccer, and it's coming again to this network. Here's Sanchez.
USA had a little hiccup, didn't they?
Little hiccup. Not involved. With 1 out and nobody on, a breaking ball for a strike to Gary Sanchez. Sanchez against Boria. Fly to left, fly to right. Mike Scioscia still trying to iron out roles in the bullpen. And I had a carousel at the closer spot. And obviously, if you have a carousel at the closer spot, you have some moving parts before you get to that last guy. And tonight, it's Noé Ramirez who's trying to keep this a 5-run game.
And because his starters are in this plan with Shohei Ohtani and most of them coming back from injuries, it'll work for a while with their starters probably not getting more than 24 or 25 starts.
Breaking ball is chopped to third. Valbuena, couple of hops, guides it across, 2 out.
So what that means, because again they've exhausted a lot of options in April to win a lot of games, they're going to need a lot more help as the year goes on because the starters aren't going deep enough in games. Yesterday was a great performance by Heaney. He came out 6 1/3 they weren't able to finish the deal in yesterday's game. Tonight didn't look much better after the second inning, but they battled their way to actually have a 5-run lead. So they'll piece their bullpen together with matchups that Mike has been doing really for the last 2 years.
Here's Bird, takes a strike. Well, the Angels come in 5 over 500, 28-23, 5.5 games out behind Houston. Seattle's between those two clubs, 3 back at the start of the day. 0-1 pitch, grounded weakly to second. Picked up by Cozart in a 1-2-3 inning for Ramirez. 9-4 Angels back after this from our local sponsors. 7th inning now, 9-4 Angels, and Ian Kinsler is pinch hitting for Luis Valbuena. Kinsler off to a 185 start, 2 homers, 6 RBIs in his new uniform. Guy's been a winner. Talked about gritty players. He's one of those players that, at least in my opinion, would fall into that category when he's been with Texas and then Detroit for the previous 4 years. Goes after the first pitch against Shreve and pops it into right, where Aaron Judge puts it away. 1 out.
Yeah, and that's another guy that they got to get going, because historically he's proven what his numbers are going to be at the end of the year, and he just looks a little off time with his approach at the plate. This is a heavy right-handed hitting team, as we mentioned, so they expect a lot out of their right-handed hitters.
Now lefty on lefty is Cole Calhoun, who's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Stands in against Shreve, who finished off the top of the 6th inning. A big frame for the Angels when they got 4 runs on 2 hits. Ball 1. Here comes a 1-0.
So yesterday, I finally reached that point where it happened, where I am broadcasting the son of the father that I played with in Cam Pedrosian.
Yeah, bedrock.
And
2-0 pitch is outside, 3-0.
Working with Bob Costas, his example of that was seeing you as a 6-year-old.
Little fat Joe with a huge head walking around. That's how Tim McCarver used to describe me. I saw this boy. He had a huge head. I mean, it was huge. Walking around the clubhouse with his dad, Jack. I mean, his head was huge. That's a strike over the inside corner.
That wasn't the transition I was looking for, but, you know.
Hey, if you're born with it, you flaunt it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a massive head you're looking at.
Well, I want to offer my congratulations.
I thought you were going to say your condolences to my head.
No.
3-1 pitch is fouled back, a full count.
Your new additions.
Yeah, Wyatt and Blake.
That's awesome, by the way.
At the age of 49, I'm a father yet again, born on April 26th. And look at that. These are the outfits that my wife puts them in.
It just doesn't get any better.
They have no
than
say.
That.
They have this.
That is awesome.
What music is that? Here's a 3-2 pitch. It's upstairs for a walk. Music a little haunting. It's a 5-run game in the 7th inning when we're pulling out like my wallet pictures to show the fans looking.
This is actually it's been like a haunting game for the Yankees. They're not used to this when given that kind of lead. You know, they usually add on and they make a pitcher pay, but as you mentioned, that young 21-year-old held his own, and he's on the hook for a win.
Here's a high fly ball into left. Briseño, in his major league debut, has gone deep. A 2-run shot. And Jose Briseño's been on base 3 consecutive times, and now he's got his first. In the big leagues, it's 11-4.
Let's see how the dugout handles this young man's first homer. They're probably going to let him know about his first travels to second base that didn't go very well when he got thrown out.
What a night. Briseño in the number 9 spot. It's not exactly Trout-like, but what a debut. Trout's had the massive game, and Briseño at the bottom of the lineup has a hit, a walk, and now a 2-run home run. He scored twice, driven home 2. Good for him. A 1 pitch. Swing and a miss by Cozart. 0-2.
Don't know how long his career will be, but whatever it is, he'll forget a lot about other things. He'll never forget about his first.
He will remember Saturday, May 26th of 2018. Here's a little soft liner hit to Gregorius for out number 2, and we go back to the home run by Briseño.
You know, he likes the ball down. They've gotten some pitches above the barrel of his bat, and you could see that lift and recoil, and even the 6'6" Stanton couldn't hoist himself high enough.
Oh, what a catch by that kid out there. And Briseño's having a night. So's the guy that gives him a hug as he makes his way back to the dugout. And here's Trout, who takes a pitch upstairs for ball 1. Could have one of the better nights you can have in a big league game if he can pop one here. He has doubled 3 times and homered. 1 ball, 1 strike. Since his debut, he's reached base 4 or more times in 81 games. That's the most in baseball. The 1-1 pitch. Strike 2.
That's the one area, and that's every great hitter is going to have one small spot. Good luck trying to get that consistently there. But not too long ago, I think he was in like an 0 for 20 spell. That is old news now.
An extra base hit here would tie a major league record. The record is 5. It's held by several players. The last, Jose Ramirez of Cleveland, doing it last September. Here comes a 2-2 from Shreve. Grounded left side from the hole. Gregorius, long throw, another hit.
How can he fly? Wow.
He is 5 for 5. And reminds the ballpark that while he can drive the ball over the wall, he can also run.
One look's all he needed, and then he doesn't look again. That's so impressive. Didi knew too. I mean, he did everything he could. Play him deep. Trying to get rid of it as soon as he could.
And now the batter is Chris Young, who has bounced around in his big league career. Takes a strike over the inside corner. For Mike Trout, a career high 5 hits and 11 total bases. Still no word yet on what, if anything, happened to Justin Upton. He was hit by a pitch, and then his next time his spot came up in the order, Chris Young pinch hit for him, and here he is. He walked and scored last inning.
I would think it had something to do with that. I had to guess. So Trout has an outside chance of batting in the 9th if a couple of his teammates could help him out.
2 out here in the 7th. He's going to take a few more base runners to make that a possibility, and a line drive back to the screen on a pitch that was up from Shreve, in the count 2-1. It went Gray, Holder, Canely, and now Shreve. Jason's 2-1 pitch is down, 3-1. Scoreboard has 3-1. Our Fox box correct at 2-2. Our man Levy on the switches down there. There's nobody better. You can count on Levy down there to work that Fox box better than he's like Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen. He just doesn't make mistakes. Mike's the best. Three-two pitch, runner will go, and Young pops it up. Maybe a play. Romine up against, and it's one row back. There have been 17 hits, 15 runs, a total of 2 errors. And another 3-2. Trout will take off at first. And a bullet hit to third, caught by Andujar. And it's time to stretch. Well, to recap, Yankees made the early noise. So did Scioscia from the dugout. But it's been Mike Trout's night and the Angels' night so far. Into the bottom of the 7th. LA up by 7. With Memorial Day weekend well underway, and we wish all of you a safe and happy one, filled with family and thoughts of those who have served, past and present. Some of the greatest to ever play in the major leagues also served their country, whether it's Christy Mathewson, Joe DiMaggio, Bob Feller, great Willie Mays, Ted Williams. So a big thank you from all of us to our troops at home and around the world. And every time they have had pictures of members of the military on the scoreboard here at Yankee Stadium, a big round of applause from this looks like close to sellout crowd here in the Bronx. And it's been a night with a lot of action as we go into the bottom of the 7th inning. Some changes as Ian Kinsler takes over at second. Cozart is shifted over to third base, which was the plan coming into the year. Valbuena got the start tonight because of his numbers against Sonny Gray, and there is still no report on Justin Upton and what happened to force him to leave this game after his second plate appearance. Noe Ramirez, his second inning of work, and the batter will be Miguel Andujar. The Angels return home on Friday for a 6-game homestand against the Rangers and Royals. You can see Trout, Pujols, Ohtani, and more in Los Angeles. Visit angels.com for tickets. Breaking ball is a good one, and Andujar, who is 1 for 2, with his average hovering just under 300 at 294. Waits for the 0-1. 0-2. And now Cole, the right-hander. A.J. Cole is getting loose for New York.
The Yankees have that 14-game stretch in 13 days, so games like tonight do not call for that formula out of the pen.
Breaking ball fouled away, and they had a lot of different scenarios when they brought Greg Bird back to the active roster. They could ship a pitcher out, but then they'd be shorthanded in their bullpen going into this stretch that started last night. They could send Tyler Austin back down to the minor leagues. He still has options left, but he's been so good they don't want to say goodbye to him. Earlier there was a chance that Neil Walker could have been a casualty, but he's been hot of late, and he gives you a lot of flexibility with a roster because he can play anywhere. So they ended up sending out Ronald Torreyes, which, as we heard from Kenny Rosenthal, was an emotional meeting that Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman had to have with Torreyes after last night's game. But he will be back. 1-2 pitch. Still 1-2.
And it's rare in American League because you don't need that kind of depth typically because of the lack of moves. You don't pinch hit for the most part, but The Yankees are blessed with their young players playing beyond their years and causing tough decisions to be made to original plan they had in spring training. So it just gives them the tremendous depth that other teams would love to have because of injuries that they can't fill the void, can't replace the player.
1-2 pitch is inside, 2-2 from Ramirez. Tyler Wade is another good young player that they have. Can play the infield, can play the outfield. Talked about Drury earlier. And Clint Frazier. Here's a line drive into left center field on a hanging pitch, and Miguel Andujar is on to start the 7th.
Good at bat. A couple check swings could have gone the wrong way, but he hung in there and took a slider off the plate. And just got it past the human defender.
Now Austin Romine is 2 for 2 and is hitting .367. With Gleyber Torres to follow, Yankees could at least make it a bit of a game again as we play here in the 7th inning. And Torres, hitting in that number 9 spot, can turn this lineup over, and they can put up runs in a hurry. So still a big inning and big outs to get for Noe Ramirez. Breaking ball stays inside, the count 2-0.
Some action going in the Angels bullpen.
Justin Anderson. Right-hander getting loose. 2-0 pitch is hit high in the air into left center field. And Romine is retired for the first time tonight as Trout puts it away. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Kevin Burkhardt with a game break. Yeah, the numbers are pretty stunning. Starting pitching at 2 1/4 runs, 2.25 for the Astros here into the end of May. And they can go really 4 deep, 5 deep. I mean, I know McCullers had a rough night tonight, theoretically, but 1 through 5, they're good.
Yeah, it makes you almost forget how good Keuchel was when he was anchoring the front of that rotation before they got Verlander, of course, before he got hurt, meaning Keuchel spent some time on the DL.
Here's a 1-0 now. That's a strike, a ball and a strike on Gleyber Torres.
But we got a chance to see Houston for the whole postseason. We know how good they are, and certainly the surprising thing for me, though, is they've wasted a lot of those great performances. They've been shut down a few more times than you would think. Still in first place, still score a ton of runs, but in the games that they have lost, on the bottom, like 29th in run scores in those games they've lost.
Breaking ball, check swing by Torres, and the count 2-1. .96 at bats it took Gleyber Torres to get to 9 home runs. And coming into tonight, 9 homers over his last 16 games, 6 in the last 6. 2-1 pitch outside, 3-1. The word now on Upton, he left with a forearm contusion. The x-rays were negative. That's why Chris Young took over when he did in the 6th.
Well, for Mr. Torres, if he's looking to extend that streak of homers, I would think he's going to get a fastball right here and look middle in and try to do some damage with it.
Went deep last night to, in essence, win the ball game with a shot to right. He walks here with 1 out, and that's the 2nd walk handed to the Yankees all night. And here comes Mike Scioscia. And out goes Ramirez with Justin Anderson. The right-hander coming in, 2 on, 1 out. Angels lead by 7. Tonight's telecast sponsored by Hankook Tire. Chase down your passion never halfway. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, what do you think there, Smoltzy? Tiger Woods is back.
He's getting closer.
He is. He had a great weekend at the Players. Tiger and the greatest golfers in the world will be at the 118th U.S. Open. Live coverage begins June 14th from Shinnecock Hills on Fox and FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I was there last Monday. The fairways are a bit wider than the last time the U.S. Open was held there in 2004. They've narrowed them a bit since they did a redo, trying to get back to the original William Flynn design. Maybe those wider fairways bring a guy like Tiger Woods even more into the mix as Gardner takes a strike.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, he's almost come back full circle to once he gets that driver more locked in. He's going to win again.
2 on, 1 out. That is slashed foul left side, strike 2.
Well, this young man can throw it. You already seen it, 97 miles an hour over the top delivery. He's got a little tap of the glove when you see him get ready to come in. It's that slider that when it takes the turn is really good. When it rolls, it's not so much.
Gardner is homered, fly to center twice. Third pitcher now of the night for the Angels. 2 on, 1 out, 0-2. Boy, he is a big-bodied right-hander that comes over the top. And as you say, the velocity 99 miles an hour for ball 1.
It's all about those secondary pitches, spinning the baseball after commanding the fastball. Velocity is becoming something we are so accustomed to, and now hitters actually accustomed to.
1-2. 100 from Anderson, and Gardner just able to put the bat on it and foul it out of play.
So the dilemma here, as you look at the delivery, he takes it out, brings it back, and then he goes downhill with that pretty good arm. The dilemma is, you know, you'd love to spin one, but that actually speeds up the bat of Gardner. He hasn't been able to get around or at least time the fastball to this point.
1-2. 2-2. Angels ended up winning that series in Toronto, and Anderson got his first career win on Wednesday. Won a scoreless inning. Big come from behind effort. 2-2 pitch. He is down the left field line. That ball's trouble if fair. It is just foul. And the runners will have to return to first and second. Noé Ramirez went an inning and a third. Responsible for the 2 on. He allowed a walk and a hit. Judge on deck. Anderson brings it, and a chopper foul right side. Justin's worked his way up. He was a 14th round pick in 2014. Bullpen is quiet for the Angels. Active for the Yankees. 2-2 pitch. With 2 on, 1 out. Another foul. Pretty good battle here. 99 mile an hour pitch.
That's why Gardner's still so tough to the top of the lineup with these guys behind him. And he can create nightmares for starting pitchers, but as you see, he can also make a guy who throws 99 to 100 miles an hour have to throw him the perfect pitch. He's looking for one pitch over the course of the plate, preferably in, that he could actually get the barrel of the bat to.
Another 2-2. Got him over the outside corner. Gardner was frozen. 2 out.
That's the difference. If this pitch comes back closer to his body, he hits it. But it stayed right there in the outer half of the plate for a backdoor strike.
Briseño, the catcher, a pretty good job to frame it, but according to our strike zone, it just caught the edge. And now we'll see what big number 99 Aaron Judge can do against Anderson. Talked to Aaron Boone before the game, and I said, who, now that you're on the other side of the fence, previously had been with ESPN and part of the media, has surprised you the most now that you're the Yankee manager and you get to know these guys on this Yankee team? And thought about it, and he said Aaron Judge. He said he's the nicest guy in the world. Everything you see is exactly how he is. Polite, friendly. But when it comes to baseball and it comes to winning a game, he will rip your heart out.
Yeah, don't let that quiet demeanor, the gentle giant, confuse you for what his motor inside is trying to do. And look, I applaud Aaron Judge for what he's gone through and how he's handled it.
None of the first 3 pitches have been close from Anderson. The count 3-0.
Now, traditionally, you'd never let a guy swing 3-0 down 7. But this is not your traditional guy.
And these aren't traditional times.
No, they're not.
Down by 7 in the 7th. What's it going to be on 3-0? Not close to load him up. And Aaron Judge has been on base 4 times. 2 walks, an infield hit, and a home run. And the batter will be Didi Gregorius. One aspect to the upcoming All-Star festivities in D.C. will be that Aaron Judge is not a part of the home run derby. He won it last year. If you want to just look at the numbers, in the 84 games prior to the All-Star break, he hit .329, 30, and 66. After 195, 14 home runs, 31 RBIs, and had shoulder surgery on his left shoulder after the year. He didn't directly pin it on that, but he has, at least to this point, said he's not interested in defending his title in the home run derby in D.C. Here's Gregorius with the bases loaded, 2 out. And I'm sure the Yankees are not too upset about that, by the way. That is a flare foul down the left field line. Strike 1.
Yeah, last year was such a whirlwind for him. You could imagine taking it all in for the first time, and he probably learned so much about last year, how to handle it and how to handle everything that comes with playing in New York. There's the judges' chambers. I think he's better prepared, though, if he has a change of heart.
Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The bases are loaded with 1 swing from a guy who hit a career-high 25 home runs last year. This will be a 3-run game. He's got 11 on the year, 0 for 3 tonight. His average has been on the sink after a huge April. Fights it off, fouls it back, strike 2, and Anderson could get out of this jam. Couple of good shortstops in this game who were childhood friends in Curacao. Gregorius and Simmons. And both have really developed into terrific big league hitters. Yeah, Gregorius, a monster year last year.
They really have. And one of those aren't going to make the All-Star team because of Manny Machado switching over to shortstop. It is loaded in the American League at shortstop.
Lindor, Correa. 1-2 pitch is fouled away again. '17 World Baseball Classic. And there are the two teammates and two longtime friends. How about these names and this talent at that position in the American League?
Loaded.
Good job by Gregorius to fight off that pitch.
Yeah, interesting. When they were young, Didi played second. When they were in the World Baseball Classic, Didi played second. Simmons staying at short. But nobody had to fill the shoes quite like Didi Gregorius when he came here. Great Derek Jeter.
Yeah, you kind of forget about that now with what he's been able to do. 1-2 pitch is flied into right. Should end the inning. Calhoun is there, and Anderson bends, does not break. Into the 8th inning we go. 11-4. Angels on top. The MLB at Bat mobile app brings every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season with the free MLB.tv game of the day. Live radio broadcast, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Another pitching change for the Yankees. A.J. Cole takes over. Jason Shreve went an inning and a third, 2 runs on 2 hits. Tommy Kahnle went 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 1 unearned with a couple of hits along the way. And now Cole to work the 8th, an 11-4 game with the Angels on top. It was 4-1 Yankees after 2. And 10 unanswered runs have been put up by the Angels.
And this guy would be the storyline if it wasn't for his great teammate Mike Trout hogging all the headlines on his debut.
Marte, who is pinch hitting.
Oh, that's right. We got a pinch hitter.
Jeffrey for Pujols starting this 8th. 1 for 4 on the night with a 2-run single. The bases loaded for Albert. And now here in the 8th, Marte takes low in the count 3-1.
But how about that? Starting catcher making his debut. Shadowed by Mike Trout.
Mike Trout with a 5-hit, 11 total base game. 3-1 pitch. Good delivery by Cole on 3-1. And Jeffrey Marte, who is hitting .295, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, fooled on it, full count. That's strike 3 called, and 1 out here in the 8th. Good job by Cole to battle back after falling behind 3-1. Here's Shohei Ohtani.
Big at bat for him. Sitting on 300.
Good job by you. Takes a strike over the outside corner. Ohtani has struck out twice, hit into a double play, walked with the bases loaded for an RBI. The 0-1 from Cole. Ball 1.
The Yankees in these 2 games, and I've seen other teams do it. I mean, Ohtani has had some hits taken away from him. He hits a lot of balls up the middle on the ground, and Yankees have had him played really nicely these 2 games, taking away a couple hits from Ohtani.
Here comes a 1-1. Ohtani played 5 years in Japan. Had an ankle injury last year. It limited him to just over 25 innings pitched. He's never thrown more than 160 in a season, so they're trying to limit his work on the mound. That is a rocket up the middle and right at Gregorius, who had him played beautifully. 2 out.
I'm telling you, that is 3 pretty good at bats for Ohtani with 0 to show for it.
On the other side of the second base bag, Gregorius made the play, and Ohtani is hitless tonight.
We've had this discussion, at least I have, because I keep talking about the state of the game and where baseball is, and sometimes, well, more times, there's lack of action, more strikeouts, less balls put in play. And the subject has come up on how do you increase action and get more balls in play in baseball.
And your answer is?
You can eliminate the shift. And what it would do is start rewarding guys instead of always lifting the ball away from the shift, because we've already seen hitters won't take the shift out by themselves hitting the ball the other way. You can eliminate, just like other sports have done. NBA's had illegal defenses. You've had different things go on in different sports and rule changes. That's one way of doing it, because now what isn't rewarded and isn't taught to hit the ball on the ground would be rewarded again, because certain guys have a pattern of when they hit the ball on the ground to the right side, they're out. Not so much if you eliminate so many defenders on one side of the field.
Meaning you need 2 on the right side of the second base bag, 2 on the left side.
Yep. There's going to be things that come down the road that people are just going to have to embrace. If the game continues the way it is, with the amount of strikeouts, we're on pace for over 10,000 more baseballs not put in play this year than last year.
And last year was a record-setting year.
Yes, and so that trend cannot continue if you're looking at the game as a whole long term.
2-1 pitch is down 3-1 on Andrelton Simmons, who is 1 for 3.
We know if you don't make any pitching rule changes, meaning roster size limits or the ability to throw as many guys as you want at any point in an inning, that this trend will continue. There's still going to be more pitches and more pitchers thrown per 2 teams. So the athleticism that exists in our game, we're not seeing as much of it because there's not enough action at times.
The Yankees just shifted with a count 3-1, and that breaking ball is in for strike 2 on Simmons. Left side, and Duhar across the infield, and we go into the bottom of the 8th. Yankees will bat down by 7. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Applebee's Bigger Bolder Grill Combos, and by Wells Fargo, established 1852, reestablished 2018. We go into the bottom of the 8th inning here in the Bronx. Yankees bat down by 7. Giancarlo Stanton takes a strike from the right-hander Justin Anderson. Stanton is 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Jeffrey Marte, who pinch hit for Albert Pujols, is in the game at first. They try to limit as much work as they can on the load on Albert Pujols, who's playing a lot of first base. More than he's played each of the last 2 years. 1 out here in the 8th. Ohtani is the DH, so that means to get Albert's bat in the lineup. He's back to first base, and according to Mike Scioscia, he's happy to play first base. He wishes he could play it every game.
Yeah, you know, he's one of the best first basemen I've ever seen in his prime. Covered more territory, took away more hits. That was well before the shift really was integrated. And he's had some foot injuries and some physical ailments that would think that'd be easier for him to DH. But to what that question was asked, he really does want to play first base as much as possible.
With 1 out, Gary Sanchez takes the ball. The Angels, when they bat in the 9th, will have to get a couple of men on to get Trout to the plate again. Popped up left side, foul territory. Cozart is tiptoeing along the railing and has it 2 out.
Give a quick shout out to a great event. John Shambi We go way back.
He's the best.
He is. He's got a charity. It's called the Project Main Street. May 29th. Teams up with Team Gleason to help ALS patient care. I was going to play in his event, but I got a broadcast Tuesday.
I got a chance to be around that last year. Didn't play, was there for the fundraiser. It's a great night, great event. Good guy, tremendous cause. It needs as much focus, energy, and money as it can get. ALS. And speaking as somebody who lost a family member to that horrific disease. Kenny Rosenthal was wearing the bow tie in honor of those efforts today. It is something that needs all of our attention, and there is just nothing worse than that disease. So the number, Lou Gehrig. And Matt Gangle, our director, put on the screen, and good for John Shambi of ESPN for putting that event together for a good buddy of his. 2 balls and a strike, 2 out, nobody on. 11-4, the Angels on top, and that's a strike. 2-2, and Bird is backed up here, 0 for 3 in his season debut, looking for his first hit.
Yeah, even when he came back last year, started out really slow, and then at the end of the year started having some really good at bats. You could almost tell the extended spring training or the lack of it. Take him a little time to get, no pun intended, his feet under him, because that's really been the issue. That's just been such a freaky way that he has been hurt in the time on the DL.
And a weak swing as he's fooled by that pitch. If there's any drama left in the game, it's can that man get to the plate again? Nobody has ever had a 6-hit game gone 6 for 6 against the Yankees. Woo. Ian Kinsler's second at bat of the game since taking over in the 7th, leading off here in the 9th. It's the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, then Cozart. Somebody gets on, they avoid a double play, they could get Trout to the plate, and I said it going to break, and it's worth mentioning that against this organization, the Yankees, it dates back to 1903, no player has ever gone 6 for 6 against the Yankees. They've had 6-hit games, obviously. The last one, Omar Vizquel, in 2004, he went 6 for 7. But that is what Mike Trout would be trying to do with his current 5 hits, 11 total bases if he gets up again, but he needs some help.
He does need some help.
Kinsler 0 for 2 as he flies to center. 1 out in the 9th, and Cole Calhoun is the hitter. Calhoun has been on base twice. He scored a run each time he's walked. 0 for 2, hitting 158. Taking batting practice, the Angels did not hit on the field before this game, which disappointed those of us who were excited to watch Shohei Ohtani put on his typical show that has all these players talking about it. They did hit in the cage, and Cole Calhoun was down there hitting with Albert Pujols in a group with Paul Sorrento watching. That is grounded left side, and Duhar backs up, throws, got him. 2 out. Dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. And how about the night for Mike Trout at the age of 26, the 2-time MVP. 3 doubles, a 2-run shot, a single that he legged out. Look at the effort.
And that's the only pitch that wasn't in the strike zone. So when you make not the best quality pitch to the greatest hitter in the game and player in the game, that's what happens.
2 out, and the Angels need to get the next 2 guys on to get Trout to the plate again. Briseño with a big MLB debut with a hit A walk, a 2-run home run. And a nice job behind the plate.
Yes. Very nice job. Kept his starter in the game. You could tell he was working him through it. Caught him in AAA, I'm pretty sure.
Good pitch down from A.J. Cole. Strike 2. Oh, 2 pitch. Just got a piece. We came on the air tonight with our tease that started with Chaz Palminteri showing the Empire State Building, that Art Deco masterpiece that everybody should see when they come to Manhattan. And we'll go to break with shots of the Empire State Building as the Yankees will have their final turn in the bottom of this 9th, trailing by at least 7. The 0-2 pitch. Got him on a pitch down and away, and let's go to the bottom of the 9th. No more at-bats for Mike Trout tonight, barring an incredible comeback. The incredible masterpiece that is the Empire State Building. On this beautiful night in New York, we're in the Bronx. Angels up 7. Well, he's been doing it for a long time. Mike Scioscia, been the manager of the Angels after starring for the Dodgers as a player since the year 2000. And you see where he ranks in the most all-time wins as a manager. And with a win tonight, he ties his former skipper, Tommy Lasorda, who he played for 13 years with the Dodgers.
I'm going to tell you something. Obviously played against Mike Scioscia. And nobody, and I mean nobody as a catcher, crushed more guys at home plate. He'd just sit on you. He'd show you the plate, an avenue to slide in, and then just lean on you and block that plate, which was allowed then.
It was a different game back then. Different game before the Buster Posey injury. As Andujar chops one up the middle, Bedrosian into pitch, 1 out. And Andujar, a 2-for-4 night as he grounds out to Kinsler. There was a collision that he had with Jack Clark that is etched into my mind for the rest of time in a game at Dodger Stadium that Mike Scioscia. I mean, Jack Clark was no small man, but neither was he.
And wasn't it Norm Charlton that hit Mike Scioscia and actually got him pretty good, like shook him up, which is a pitcher.
That's what you do when you're one of the nasty boys. Here is a strike over the outside corner to Austin Romine. A homer tonight, 2 out of 3. Started the night hitting .340. Now with 3 home runs and 15 RBIs, making the most of his chances this season. Bedrosian deals low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes a 1-1, a check swing. On the road, the Angels are percentage points ahead of Houston for the best record away from home, and they can add another win to the total. With 1 here tonight, they'd be 17-6 with the rubber game of this series coming tomorrow.
And I asked Mike about that, and he just, there's no real answer for that. I mean, the conventional thinking would be all the attention Ohtani gets at home and all the different things and distractions and maybe attention to detail that you don't maybe have to on the road. But he just said, we haven't played the type of baseball at home that's indicative of what you should do and haven't taken advantage of that. So he thinks that'll work itself out for sure.
Should even out.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on here in the 9th, and Romine steps out.
The flip side of that is how good the Yankees play at home.
19-7 coming in.
You can understand that. This place was built for some of the monsters in the lineup.
Check swing on ball 3, down and away, a full count. just to finish with Scioscia. Among managers, the most wins with any team all time. Connie Mack is number 1. John McGraw. Bobby Cox, who you've met a few times over the years. Walter Alston. And the man that took over for Walter Alston was Tommy Lasorda. Those two are back-to-back on that list. And then Mike Scioscia, who is in his 19th season as manager of the Angels and in the final year of a 10-year deal. Hard hit, but caught on a line for the second out here in the 9th inning, and a 2-for-4 night for Romine.
You just never know when you're playing, and he had a good career. You just never know what influences and what choices you'll make afterwards, and certainly stayed in that West Coast crosstown team with the Angels.
Last chance for Gleyber Torres to extend his home run streak to 5 straight games. Youngest to do it 4 straight in AL history. Went the opposite field for the deciding run last night, and he has shown that he can hit the ball out to right, especially in this ballpark with the short right field porch. So far tonight, 0 for 2 with a walk, takes a strike. The producer of this game, Pete Macheska. The director is Matt Gangle. The associate director, Brian Biederman. The broadcast associate, Brian Colucci. Steve Horn, our editorial consultant here in the booth. And Al Friedman is the camera operator extraordinaire. 2 spots over to my right. There's a breaking ball for a strike, and the Yankees are down to their final strike.
And you're getting ready for the U.S. Open. Can't wait.
I can't either. I mean, back to kind of a traditional venue with Shinnecock. By the way, Wayne Fiddleman was the one that crunched the numbers to get the OPS for Trout. If Briseño can find it, which he does, he throws to first, and that's it. The Angels win it by a final of 11-4. The winner, Barria. Jaime, the 21-year-old, fought his way through it, goes to 4-1. And Sonny Gray suffers the loss, couldn't string back-to-back strong starts together. Now 3-4. 3.5-hour game. Glad you were with us. John Smoltz, Kenny Rosenthal, and Mike Scioscia. We say so long. We'll take a break. The studio on the other side of it. Rubber game of this series coming up tomorrow. What a night for the best in the game. Mike Trout. Good night.